And welcome to Woodside High School in Redwood City for the premiere of West Bay Game Night, the first of 10 games for you coming up this fall. Craig Wentz along with the Southpaw Kurt Edwards. And Kurt, Valparaiso Bowl 2006, the Menlo School Knights taking on the Sacred Heart Prep Gators. Early in the year, but it's biggie.
It's always a biggie, Craig, because one of the cool things about it is they're just, a couple of miles apart, so it's bragging rights for Valparaiso. It's just one of those types of things that you really look forward to.
West Bay Game Night is a presentation of the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center. Media Center sports coverage is made possible by a generous grant from Cable Co-op. Sponsored by the Palo Alto Daily News, the Upper Silicon Valley circulation leader on the web at paloaltodailynews.com, and Sunbelt Rentals. All your equipment needs one company. Online at www.sunbeltrentals.com. We look at some of the athletes. We're going to see some really good athletes. Second game of the season. Menlo is 1-0 after beating San Mateo 42-0. And Sacred Heart blew a 12-point lead in the first half last week and fell to El Camino 20-19. Sacred Heart offense can be summed up in 3 words: run, run, run. Menlo a little more balanced. I like to put the ball in the air, but this is a rivalry. It's the 4th meeting all time, Kurt. Sacred Heart trails in the series 2-1. They got their initial win last season. Kind of feel you get for this one?
Well, one of the things we talked about a rivalry. I would say right now, just if you look at the depth of both of these squads, they're probably equal, both coming from some very high academic schools, also with a rich tradition and some very positive athletes who we can talk about later on. And I see this one, it's going to be decided probably pretty much in that first quarter, because it's going to be the team that doesn't make the mistakes. It's going to come out on top. I know that's a really simple way to go for it, but I notice Menlo is going to get that football first on the kickoff, and their whole routine is that run and shoot, and it's fun.
Matt Bocci to kick, and it comes to Mossberger at the 14-yard line, and Mossberger with an avenue and scoots up to the 30-yard line. Nice return for the Knights, first down and 10. They run the run and shoot. A very exciting offense, Kurt, as we see this run back by Mossbacher.
Trying to set up that little picket over there on the left side, and they do a nice job with it, and Mossbacher does just a superb job. And you notice how he's running. He's picking up blockers, he's understanding what's going on, and then he's able to cut up the field.
Andrew Dixon, the quarterback, Ivory, Hawkins, Haynes, Mossbacher, and Bouvier. Lysette, Coggins, Cavender, Flaherty, and Doctor. Talented team for headman Mark Newton in his 3rd year at Menlo. They run the run and shoot. You're going to see a couple of slots, a couple of wideouts, and then keep your eye on number 3, Leon Ivory, a solid back, 6 foot 200. Injured most of last season. Quarterback Dixon, back, got time, lets it fly, tipped around and incomplete. Almost hijacked by Bocci at the 45-yard line, bring up 2nd down and 10. I guess we can expect a lot of that tonight from Menlo.
Well, they had a lot of protection all the way on. Take a peek at that Gator defense. Looking at that defensive front, 4-man front. They're with 3 linebackers. They're going to be really busy because they've got a lot of reads, and you just saw what they're going to do with those defensive backs. Perry being one of them, and they're going to be sitting deep all day long. Ty Highland also one of those backs, and he is playing center field right about at the 45-yard line.
2nd down and 10. Bouvier in motion, number 6. Dixon stops, got a man. That's Hawkins. Hawkins to the 40-yard line. Going to be near a first down. It might be a yard shy. Pickup of 9. Bring up 3rd down and 1. Hawkins, he's a good one, Kurt.
He does. A little 2-step drop. Notice that great protection. In this zone defense that Sacred Heart is setting up, your receivers will start identify the zone, identify where everybody else. Do your little hook if you've got to extend your pattern by a stride or 2 or cut it up inside. Find that open spot. Great job. And Dixon, number 14, the quarterback, threw a beautiful spiral pass.
Ricky Hawkins, last week in the win over San Mateo, 5 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown. He's being looked at virtually every Ivy League school. 6'3", 180 pounds, 3rd down and 1. There's Ivory, 1st down and more. Throws a shoulder down and gets into Sacred Heart property at the 45-yard line. 16 big yards from Leon Ivory, and they'll move the chains, 1st and 10, Menlo.
Well, the book on Ivory is a good open field runner, but that was a nice job. It was a good read all the way around. It was a slow developing play, but you got to look at some of the things that Menlo has is that offensive front, especially Lysette. You know, we're talking about a big kid, and he wears number 70, 6'5", 255 pounds. He is the right tackle, and he is a formidable person to get around.
Mossbacher in motion, first down at 10. First drive of the ball game, just underway, a minute and a half in. Swing it out, Mossbacher at the 45-yard line, cuts inside, twirl down, inside the 40 at the 36-yard line. A stop made by number 54, Sam Chuknova, the middle linebacker.
Dixon just doing a little sprint roll. Mossbacher out there in the flats, and we're getting a really good look at the talented receivers and offense that Menlo can put on the field, and it's really going to be tough for the Gators all afternoon long. They're going to have to do a better job of penetrating. Cacharo, number 79, he's a defensive tackle over on there on the right side. He's really going to have to start mixing up, and they're double teaming him.
Anthony Bouvier in a quarterback, gains a few off the right side, but a marker is down at the 38-yard line, and it is a hold on Menlo. Great thing about Menlo, interchangeable parts, Kurt. Bouvier can play quarterback, he can play wide out, play in the slot. Ivory can play as a setback and to play in the slot. So a lot of different looks that Mark Newton can give you, and that can really confuse the defense.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You cannot just set up on any one thing. This is going to be a big break for the Gators. At holding negates a small gain, but it also backs them up, which could slow down their momentum just a little bit. But the way Dixon is able to throw the ball and the protection that he's been able to get from that offensive front, Cavender, who is the 59, the center, doing a good job. I mean, he could pick this defense apart.
Second down and 12. Dixon, delay, draw, Ivory, got an avenue, 45, and knocked down at the 46-yard line by Matt Connor, the Rover, number 21. You're going to be hearing that name a lot tonight. Picked up about 3, he'll bring up 3rd and long.
Just a good job. You can see him step outside, gets away from the blocks, and Connor does it. And here comes Perry, number 23, also in there to finish off that hit. That's just a good read by those defensive backs. And that's the tough part about this run and shoot. And what Menlo can really do is those backs have got to read very, very quickly. And if they guess wrong or read wrong, it could be 6 quick.
3rd down, long. Bouvier, pass, caught, Hawkins inside the 20, down at the 16-yard line. Brought down by Ty Highland, but not after a gain of 33 yards and a night first down.
That was just a nice job. You had talked about the interchangeable parts. Bouvier, who can step up and be quarterback. You can actually see why on that pass. Nice tight spiral. Hawkins just looked great on that one. Kept running his pattern all the way down.
Second catch of the night for Hawkins. Bouvier breaking tackles and inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. And we talked about Menlo, different players playing at the skill positions there. You saw Bouvier on the forward lateral and hit Hawkins in stride for a big gain, and now knocking on the door for the game's first score.
Yeah, LaRue, number 12, in there on the hit. And there, you can already see we've done some inside moves, some nice, a little flea flicker to Bouvier, who set it up well. What makes this offense effective, well, crying out loud, what makes any offense effective is those 5 war horses that are up there in the trenches, and they're doing a fine job here on the initial drive.
And we know your love of the offensive line. It's where it all starts. Hawkins in motion, straight give, Ivory. Second effort inside 5 down to the 4-yard line. Tackle made by Chaknova, 54, the middle linebacker.
Watch Chaknova. He does a nice job. Slides right over. He's lined up on the right side, and that is just a really good read. Got rid of his blockers, saw the hole, did a nice job of sliding in, making the tackle. Gordon was being occupied, number 56. And I've got to tell you that the offensive line, and I'm partial to those big war horses up there, they're doing a nice job of not only making the initial hit, but sticking with the guy that they blast right off the bat.
Ivory, the lone setback on a 1st and goal. And wall built up at about the 1-yard line. Ivory could not get in. Kevin Diefendorf made the initial hit, the outside linebacker, bring up 2nd down and goal. But Menlo, you have the 2 wide receivers, see the replay, and the 2 slots in Ivory. So many things they can do inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, and they do it very, very well. And you saw it was a nice sideline shot right down there. You could see the surge come off from that offensive line. The initial hit, they're just a half a beat quicker, boom, right up into the guys, and then they're just driving right on through.
2nd and goal. Menlo, 6 minutes on this possession. Mossbacher into the end zone. Touchdown Menlo. Well, a very impressive opening drive for the Knights. There's a marker down, but I think this one will stand. It's unsportsmanlike. They'll pack that during the extra point. 70 yards in 10 plays, Kurt.
It's well done. You can see them use all of their different weapons. And Mossbacher, very quick reaction, but when you're only a couple yards out, and Dixon does a nice job, you can see him stand very calm in that pocket. He's got a lot of poise, a lot of confidence. So it's really cool when you've got a quarterback that sits back up there, gets out, and you watch that offense. They get out there, they throw. It only takes a couple of blocks on something like that because the defense can't fly out that fast. They have to respect some of the other weapons that Menlo has.
So the Knights are going to go for 2. After the unsportsmanlike penalty, pushes it back to the 8-yard line. Again, Ivory lone setback. Menlo up 6-0 on the Dixon to Mossbacher. They're going to try it again. Nope, going to slant pattern. Oh, what a catch by Hawkins. In traffic right over Highland. Count the 2 points, and Menlo leads it 8-0 with 6:28 remaining here in the opening period. What a target.
Hawkins he's the type of target that you sit back and just hope for. 6'3", 178 pounds. Led the league last year in receiving. You can see why. Did a nice job. 2, maybe 3 hard driving steps, and then went right in. Craig, I think they brought that back, and that was their 6th.
Yeah, you know what? My bad. They did bring it back. Initially, it was after the play was dead, so the touchdown will go to Hawkins, and the extra point will be 7-0 with 6:28 left in quarter number 1. But that opening drive, Kurt, key plays. Ivory picked up a couple of first downs on the ground, and then you got all those targets out there: Bouvier, Hawkins, Mossbacher, and that's just from the opening drive.
Well, you can see that they came up showing, it's probably not everything they have in their arsenal, but they definitely show that they've got the offensive capability and the firepower to move the ball right down the field. Crying out loud, last week they showed it with a 42-0 victory over San Mateo, and they were able to move the ball down the field. They came out of that contest healthy. And talking to Coach Newton, he says, we executed well. He says, actually, and this is what I really like from our conversation with him. I says, how is the execution? He says, it was more like our 3rd or 4th game into the season as opposed to just our 1st game. So you can see these kids learn the offense, understand what their responsibilities are, and are executing very, very well at this stage of the season. It's only game number 2, and they've got some pretty big games ahead of them also.
Connor and Highland back deep for Sacred Heart, and the kickoff from Travis Boyce. Nice boot. Connor at the run on the 16-yard line and dances to about the 28. Return to 12 yards. Host of Knights on the tackle. First down and 10. And now we get to meet the Gators offense. Here's a team that will keep it on the ground. They're not going to ask their sophomore quarterback Ryan Sikowski to do too much. There he is. Good look at Ryan, 5'10", 155. Capavilla, Connor, Highland, Courier. And the offensive line for Sacred Heart racked up 19 points last week. A very frustrating loss to El Camino. Had a 12-0 lead, but mistakes down the end did end the Gators. So they're 0-1 on the young season. But boy, they want to win over the rival Menlo. Look at this, Sikowski going deep on the first play from scrimmage. Connor was open, overshot him at the Menlo 45-yard line.
Great opening call because everybody in the book says we run it. Sikowski puts it right on up. But I actually think on that stagger, this little stumble that was sitting out there, Connor lost his footing just for a second. Otherwise, I think he would have been able to run underneath that ball, and then it would have been a track meet. Connor does have very good speed and might have been able to leg it all the way in for 6 points.
Sacred Heart, no huddle. Motion Highland. He's the fly back. They run the fly offense. And a ball is loose at the 36-yard line. Highland was struggling for a few extra yards. You can't blame the effort. Unfortunately for the Gators, they recover after a gain of about 7, bring up 3rd down and about 2.5.
These are an important 2.5, 3 yards that the Gators are going to have to come up with, Craig. They need to answer the sustained drive that Menlo put out in their first possession. Ideally, they'd have to answer with 7 points, but they want to be able to show them that they can drive the ball against this very tough defense.
3rd and 2. Connor with 3 touchdowns last week. He lost the ball at the 35. He did not have enough for the first down. He was wrapped up initially by Flaherty, and Menlo has the football. So on consecutive carries, the Gators lose the ball. They recover once, and there Menlo has it in great position to go up by a couple of scores.
This is one of the things in El Camino that really started to bite the Gators, is that is the mistakes, either the mental mistakes or the physical mistakes, fumbling being one of them. And this is what, if you're Coach Lavaretto, you do not want to see a turnover down in your own field. You're not inside the red zone yet, but you're close.
Head coach for Sacred Heart is Pete Lavaretto. His keys to the game: grind out first downs with his run offense. Here's a look at Coach Lavaretto, and not give up the big play, something they just can't afford to do. They can't afford, Kurt, to get down big to Menlo early because they just don't have the offense to come back.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, as far as being able to put the ball up, the fly option is a defensive type of an offense. Little inside handoffs, requires the quarterback to do a lot of reads. They can do some sprint outs, but usually as you watch this offense unfold, you've got a running back. Everything's pretty tight. You may have one receiver split out from the line of scrimmage a little bit, but it's tight. It's going to be inside the tackles unless you're going to get both guards pulling, and then they may try and get outside on a sweep type of a deal, but it's real quick, real fast, and it's running. It's tough to throw out of this style of an offense.
Sacred Heart won its first ever Valparaiso Bowl last year, winning 27-19. Menlo leads the all-time series 2-1. Dixon stops, throws, has a man inside the 30 at the 26-yard line. It is Hawkins, his 3rd catch of the evening.
Hawkins is he's going to be tough. Nice rollout, little sprint tackle out there. Hawkins gets out there, breaks it into the hook to curl. Nobody in that zone. And if he didn't go down on the knee to get that ball, which was thrown down and away, he probably could have turned it upfield and probably picked up another 6, maybe 10 yards. Because you watch this defense for the Gators. Highland number 7 playing center field. Corners are walked off just a little bit to respect the talent.
Dixon from the gun. Dixon going to the end zone. And it is picked off. Ty Highland, the free safety. Hawkins tried to squeeze it in there to Hawkins, but Highland came up with the big prize.
Highland with position. He doesn't have the height. Dixon doing a good job of looking everybody off. But Highland does not go for the fake. And you can see he's battling right on in there with Hawkins for it. Just a great job of reading the quarterback, reading the receivers. And as a center fielder, Craig, you can sit right there in the middle. And if you're dropped back as far as Highland was, you don't have to react. He did a nice job of just staying home. And the defensive back who had Dixon, I missed him, did a nice job of staying with him.
Highland, 5'10", 160, and a senior. Gets maybe a yard to the 21-yard line. If you just joined us, Menlo on its first drive, 70 yards in 10 plays, capped off with an 8-yard pass from Dixon to Hawkins, extra point good. 7-0 Menlo, 4:14 to go in the 2006 edition of the Valparaiso Bowl. And Kurt will have some information on the proceeds from this game, what they're trying to do. Highland with the big hole. It closed quickly. He cuts to the outside 30. Highland across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Finally brought down by Nate Coggins. He had to come over from his middle linebacking position, and a big play for the Gators.
And you can kind of get an idea of the types of reads you're going to have on that fly. Nice job by Highland. You did, what he's going to step up. Here's that Menlo defense. Curtis and Lissette in the middle. They're going to have to do a great job. Those linebackers are going to be very, very busy. Humphrey, Richmond, Mosbacher, they're going to have a lot of reads. They're going to be playing tight to the line of scrimmage, and Highland is the guy that you're going to see get the bulk of the carries.
Highland to the 40 after a pickup of 4, bring up 2nd down and 6. So the Gators turn it over on its first possession, but starting to move the ball here late in the first quarter.
One of the things on that fly is you start moving. The reads are simple. It depends on how the defensive ends, how much they push up the field on how the handoff is going to go, and how the block and that fly back is going to be able to get the ball.
Here's Matt Connor, 1st down and more near the 49-yard line. Finally shoved out after a gain of 11. Connor last week against El Camino, 16 carries, 104 yards, and all 3 touchdowns.
You can see the blocking. Everything's got to be backside. Nice block on the outside by the receiver for this offense to work. You don't have to have the biggest offensive line in the world, but you've got to be quick. You've got to make sure that you get to the outside shoulder of the person you're trying to block.
Yeah, block thrown by Braden Courier. Is that behind the line of scrimmage? No, incomplete. Coming up to make the play from his corner position, Taylor Humphreys put a hit on Connor. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Humphreys smelled that one from the get-go. Nice job. He was about 5 yards off the receiver. When the receiver did go initially, Humphreys didn't bite. Stayed right there, stayed in coverage, and then as soon as he read the pass, he was right up there to make the hit.
3:10, first quarter, Menlo up 7-0, but Sacred Heart on the move. Sophomore quarterback Ryan Sikowski, just 2 of 7 a week ago. Here's Highland again. Hesitates, cuts outside, throws down his shoulder. Going to be near a 1st down at the Menlo 41-yard line. He got 10, and for his size, Kurt, at 160, he runs tough.
He does, and Lush, number 80, Brzezinski, does a nice job of blocking, getting Highland outside and around the corner, and that's what I'm seeing. The receivers in the backs, everybody blocks. About the only one that's not going to throw a block is the quarterback.
Or him.
Yeah, but he could put the bite on you pretty big, and it may hurt.
The Gator. Big crowd here tonight. Both schools at that Woodside High School, so they could have it on a Saturday night. Sacred Heart won the JV game. Straight give. Here's Connor. Oh, hit big by Mosbacher. Connor kept his legs going, got himself about 5 yards to the Menlo 36-yard line. This is what Sacred Heart can do, Kurt. They can just kind of grind that clock and wear you down.
They really can, and you notice it was around, and finally they decided to go through the tackles, and they did a good job. Corseo, number 79, you can see him showing up in your screen. Where's that big 79 doing a good job of hitting the blocks and then going downfield looking for more people to block.
Oh, you look at that Menlo defense, everyone creeping in the box. Here's Highland again. He needs a block. Did not get it, still got to the 35-yard line. Maybe picked up a couple. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and long. Curtis coming in to making the tackle. Also in there, Matt Corley, number 8 for Menlo.
You know who's having Oliver, number 56. He's one of the tackles. He's working really hard. Excuse me, he's lining up right now at the left guard. But their job, they've got angle blocks, quick little traps they've got to pull. They have to know their assignments inside and out.
3rd down, 4, and Connor should have enough for a 1st down inside the 30-yard line. Tackled by Mosbacher, but Connor with some hard running, and they're going to move the chains for Sacred Heart.
They are, and you can see everything going on behind the line of scrimmage. Even though the ball was given to Connor, and he's a very explosive running back, you can see good power. The fakes continue to go all the way out. If you can freeze 1 or 2 defenders in this offense, you've got a chance to break it for a big play.
Well, this is what Mark Newton didn't want for his Menlo team. They finally go deep. A bunch of contact to the 10-yard line. 2 yellow flags are thrown, and in all likelihood, we're going to have interference on Menlo. Just a matter of time, Kurt, before you saw Sikowski either go play action or a straight drop back.
He was going down for LaRue, number 12, who was right down the middle of the field. And there was a couple of the defenders for Menlo that just decided to play pinball with him as they lost sight of the receiver. Maybe not sight, but they lost the field to where the receiver is, as well as the ball, and you can see them bounce off of each other long before the ball even got there. Good call by the officials. And those are the types of mistakes that Coach Newton was able to avoid in the San Mateo game, and we've got a turnover and this type of mistakes that puts them down there.
Yeah, Coach Newton in his 3rd year said, hey, look, we got to keep the ball away from Sacred Heart and avoid these long, grinding drives. And also, we got to make some quick reads on offense. Offense has been no problem, but Sacred Heart in its second possession has really turned it up a notch. Here's Sikowski, going to set up a screen, has Cotter, got blocking, 10, 5, near the goal line. Did he get in? No, he's down to the 1 yard line.
Beautifully designed screen, well set up. Excellent job by the lineman to just set that whole thing up. And once that ball was completed, Craig, if you'll notice, there was a lot of linemen going downfield, throwing those blocks and almost into the end zone.
First and goal, coming up on 1 minute, opening quarter. The fly back. Highland, is he in? Yes, he is. And the Gators are an extra point away from tying it up. And that was an impressive drive.
Very, very impressive. Starting off with that interception down in the end zone by who? Highland. So he gets it on both ends of it. He gets the pick on that throw into the end zone by Dickens and ends up with that little run for the touchdown. And now we've got a little problem. We just don't have all the numbers out on the field, and this is the type of thing that'll either turn a coach's hair gray or, in my case, follically challenged.
Well, recap that drive as a point after by Bocci. Oh, a little low, no good. We'll see how big that one comes into play. But nonetheless, the Gators go 72 yards in 13 plays. They take off 5:20 off the clock. And with a minute to play in quarter number 1, it is Menlo School 7 and Sacred Heart Prep 6 on West Bay game night. Glad you're with us. First of 10 games in a row. Next week we're at Gunn High School. Kurt, I've been there. You haven't, with the new lights.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it looks great. Great atmosphere there. They'll be taking on Carlmont. Both teams are winless this year, so someone's got to gain something next week, and we'll be seeing Palo Alto with its highest ranking in recent memory, 3rd in CCS right now. A very impressive win over Carlmont in week number 2, 49-8. We'll see Gunn, MA. Lots of football, and we start off right here in the old Valparaiso Bowl. And, you know, for Saturday night, beautiful. Temperatures might get down to about the mid to low 60s, but clear skies and a big, big crowd from both of these schools.
Now they support their athletics, as we well know, having an opportunity to do different types of telecasts from both of these schools, and they like their athletics.
High short kick from the 13 is Ivory, and Ivory is still on his feet. Look out, Ivory! He's got some wheels. He's got a touchdown. Leon Ivory, 86 yards. And after a successful, confident-building drive by Sacred Heart, Ivy sheds a few tacklers and goes the distance. What a run.
Beautiful run. Watch this. Right up the gut. Nice little wedge play, and there's a lot of shirts down. Not really able to get anything on him. Actually, it looked like only one Gator really had much of a shot at him, and Ivory is a horrible. But guess what? It's coming back on a hold. So, as impressive a run as that was, it could have been a simple result. Somebody got their hand caught in the cookie jar.
I'd like to know where that flag came from, because there were no laundry on the field when Ivory danced into the end zone. So a huge break for Sacred Heart. Let's sort this out at the Sacred Heart 48-yard line. Most likely you would think a block in the back and bring it back 10 yards from the spot, but I did not. Did you see any laundry out there, Kurt?
Didn't see. I was looking for one. Nothing out there. Nobody blew their handkerchiefs, but the flag was thrown over on the far side, over on the Menlo side, and obviously the official on that side saw something that was suspicious that he thought should be brought to the attention of the referee.
Well, that's 2 delayed penalty calls now on Menlo touchdowns. The first was a Mossbacker 2-yard touchdown reception. They finally got that back with a Hawkins TD catch, and this one by Ivory. Nonetheless, an impressive run for Leon Ivory, who is a very accomplished pianist, level 7, which is very, very good. And Kurt, you know, a lot of concentration, practice, time, and effort to play the piano. But Tony Schwartz, Ivory's teammate, is a level 10 pianist. I think that's a step from like playing concert halls.
That is way up the ladder.
You know, have two accomplished pianists on the same high school football team, and you got to study and practice and everything else. A lot of talent on both teams, in and out of the football field and classroom. Going deep to Hawkins, incomplete at the 32-yard line. Bring up second down and 10.
That time Dixon could have waited just a little bit. There's no doubt in my mind that Hawkins is his primary target. I mean, he has a plethora of different receivers that he can go to, but Hawkins seems to be the guy, especially on the deep route, because he runs a very nice pattern. Big, strong receiver and a huge target. And believe me, quarterbacks, the bigger the target, the better they like it.
We're talking about Hawkins, the leading receiver in the PAL last year, being looked at a lot of Ivy League schools. 6'3", 180, delay give Ivory. He's hungry for another long run after that 86-yard return for a touchdown was wiped out, but he gets into Gator territory at the 46-yard line. He picked up 12 to move the chains. 1st and 10 with 33 seconds left in quarter number 1.
Not certain who's going to get credit for the tackle for the Gators, but the guy that gets credit for the tackle and knocking Ivory down was his own player, number 52, Doctor.
The good doctor.
Not right now. Not right now.
Malpractice?
I think he did.
Dixon, short drop. Hawkins tried to grab it with one hand. It was up and away. Coverage out there by Joe Perry, 23. The corner for the Gators. 15 seconds left in the opening quarter. 7-6 Menlo. A lot of action here in the first 12 minutes. Craig Wentz along with Kurt Edwards. Glad you're with us on a beautiful September 9th, 2006.
I was going to say, the best weather we get on the Central Coast is right now during football season. And we've seen 2 sustained drives, one by Menlo and one by Sacred Heart, and they are they're some clock eaters.
2nd and 10. Here's Ivory, the senior, injured most of last year. Whittled out a few before Chuck Nova having a good first quarter. Number 54, the middle linebacker, made the stop, and that'll be the final play of quarter number 1. 12 minutes in the vault. Our score is Menlo School 7 and Sacred Heart Prep 6 on West Bay game night.
Very entertaining first 12 minutes, and I've got to say, when you've got a 7-6 score, especially when you were looking at how everybody did last week, this is really surprising. Hey, one of the things that brought this game together, and Les DeWitt, who's a friend of mine, is part of this. It's the Peninsula Bridge Project, and what this organization does is it works with many of the different schools, Sacred Heart and Menlo being 2 of them, Castellea being another one. They work with some of the students from over East Palo Alto that are having a little trouble academically, bring them over to these schools for summer school. Most of them are junior high age kids, work with them on their math and some of the other studies to get them ready for high school, and in that case also get them ready for college, because we know that if you get that college education, especially from Tennessee, you're going to be farther up the ladder than possible. You're set for life, especially if you're a volunteer. The cool thing about it is if these kids can get the academics up in junior high school, all of these different organizations, these schools, have scholarships for these young students. And as I said, some of the schools are Castellea, Crystal Springs, Sacred Heart, Woodside, Priory, and Menlo School. So there's a lot of really cool things. There's a lot of philanthropic money that goes into this organization, and NASDAQ is even one of the contributors to this whole thing.
Well, you know, it's good to see people getting out there and making a difference, and you know, certain of us have the opportunity to do that. And that's good to see. This is a good cause, a great game. And Hawkins with the catch from Dixon, gain of about 7. But you have to remember that Sacred Heart just started football maybe a handful of years ago. So Menlo never really had a rival till Sacred Heart took up football. And this is the 4th meeting in this rivalry. Menlo leads 2-1. But as you mentioned, that's a great cause. Gives a lot of people opportunity to advance.
It really does. And some of the things they also have is they've got, one of the components is a parent component, which is huge.
Bouvier on the swing. And there is Chuck Nova again, grabbing the shoulder of number 6 after a gain of about 3. Bring up second down and 7 just underway in quarter number 2.
You saw Bouvier. There's Chuck Nova, number 54. But Bouvier, 5'10", can be at the running back, can be the defensive back, wide receiver. He's a football player. He's got a good nose for the football, very tough. If you're going to hit him high, even with his size, very, very difficult to bring down.
Bouvier, last year's PAL Ocean Division Utility Player of the Year, 5'10", 175. Dixon again with the short drop, tried to wing it out to Mossbacher. On the coverage, Matt Connor, the rover, will bring up 3rd down and 6.
That play went a little bit quicker than Mossbacher thought it was going to be. Either that or he missed the call that said it was going to come in his direction. We get another shot of Dixon, number 14, going over to talk to Coach Newton. But that was just one of the things that you call, and you talked earlier about it. Coach Newton says we're going to have some quick reads on offense because the run and shoot style of an offense that they're running does require quick reads by the quarterback as well as quick reaction time for the receivers. Receivers get into an open spot and they know they're open. They turn and sit. They're always looking for some place to go.
3rd down, 6. Bouvier in motion, far side, 3 wide receivers. That's the way Dixon is going. Going to wing it out. Hopefully Bouvier can run for it. He cuts inside. He's wrapped up. He's got a 1st down and more. Inside the 20, 15, 10. Look at number 6 go. Is he into the end zone? Touchdown to Menlo. What an effort from Anthony Bouvier, the senior. And Menlo increases its lead now to 13-6.
I thought there might have been a blocking behind the back as Bouvier was going on in. Great one-handed grab. High tackle, no wrap there. Keeps right on going. Just a bunch of people just bouncing off of number 6. And in he goes, and that is one of the things that obviously the Gators are going to have to work on, and that is tackling and hanging on to those jerseys because that was a tremendous run by Bouvier.
Well, he's got to get his wind back now to kick the extra point. Hold by Dixon. That's no good. Short and to the right. Each team has missed an extra point. 11-11 to play. First half. New score. Menlo 13 and Sacred Heart Prep 6.
I can just hear Bouvier. Wait a minute now. You want me to run 40 yards, bounce off of people, get in the end zone, hustle back here, line up, and kick this thing through the upright. Okay. But see, he's the type of athlete that can just do that. And one of the things that you know, being a long snapper, is so many things have to go right in order to get that thing down. Good snap, proper hold, and then the approach right through the kicker. If some of those don't work, one of those doesn't work, you have a chance for a misfire.
We'll get a nice drive by Menlo. 8 plays, 58 yards, capped off on the 34-yard pass from Dixon to Bouvier. And remember, this whole thing started on a Leon Ivory 86-yard touchdown kickoff return that was called back and a block in the back. And Menlo shrugged it off and went 58 yards, and now they lead it by 7. Now it's the Gators' turn with 11 minutes to go in the quarter. Into the end zone at high school, the ball crosses the plan of the end zone. You cannot run it back. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Our spotter is Misha Berkowitz. Misha, I haven't seen him since last year. We haven't seen anyone. This is our first telecast in a long time.
They've all gone away. We actually had picture IDs of everyone so we could recognize each other one more time. Of course, Craig Judson, our producer, director, all around everybody, is missing in action at this point in time. Last seen going down 101, looking for a bridge.
In reverse. Doug Smith's doing our graphics. Ron Holman on replay and audio. 1st down at 10. Highland in motion. Inside give. That is to number 32, and that is Giordano Capavia, 5'8", 175, and a junior. Giordano, last week, 11 carries and 46 yards in the loss to El Camino.
As you said, nothing gained on that one. Great read by the Menlo defense. And as you see the different blocking schemes, especially from the linebacker spot, you've got to be able to read what the guards are doing. Sometimes it's a cross read.
Highland maybe got back to the line of scrimmage to bring up third down and long with 10:20 to play until half.
You see 51 Giglio. He's not in on the tackle, but he's right there. Had the running back to continue to move up that field, and that's just good inside lateral pursuit, going from the inside to the outside, staying clear of the blockers. We're going flat to the line of scrimmage.
Third down 9. Sikowski give. Connor wants to get the perimeter. He is being hunted down, and Mossbacher with the tackle. Applying the pressure, though, for Menlo is Ryan O'Halloran. Number 42, the defensive end, stayed right with him, forced him to the sidelines until Mossbacher could make the stop.
Nice little misdirection on that side, but you're right. Good pursuit all the way around. Ty Highland on the outside misses that tackle, but it forces Connor back to the inside enough, and that's where the pursuit for Menlo was, and they were right there. There were a lot of Knights coming in to make converge on the tackle.
So the Gators will punt for the first time tonight. And this one will roll out at about the 47-yard line on the kick by Braden Courier, a senior. So good field position for Menlo. And going back to Sacred Heart, I think a big part of their defense is Menlo is their secondary to stop this fly offense. The corners, Humphreys and Bouvier, Richard and Mossbacher, the safeties, they play a big part. They can't allow any Gator to get the corner.
No, they can't. They've got to be able to step up. They're kind of in a force-contained type of position, especially the corners, Humphreys number 7 and Bouvier number 6. They've got to stay right there and then either force the running back to get to the outside and let the pursuit go that way, force him out of bounds, or they contain him and get him back to the inside where all that help is coming from.
Knights throw 3 receivers on the near side, and what's Dixon do? He goes to the far side, has a man knocked away, intended for Hawkins.
Connor was running right with him, stride for stride, and he did a nice job of getting his hand up right there at the last minute. Dixon, maybe a 2-step drop, and he throws it up for grabs. Sorry, that was not Connor back there. That was Perry, number 23.
What's his first name? Joe
Perry. Perry?
That's his name. Of course, 49er fans remember Joe the Jet in the 1950s, but
that was back in your day.
Joe Perry, number 23. Dandy play. Old Joe is 6 foot 170 and a junior. Very young Sacred Heart team. Delay handoff again. They like this play. It is Ivory, and he's going to carry a couple of Gators before he's pushed back at the 45-yard line. He picked up 3. It'll bring up third down and long for Menlo with a shade under 9 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, with that delay, it does a nice job. You can see the big hole right up the middle. It gives the opportunity for the linemen, the center and the guards, to clear out that hole with a little bit of a trap action block. Freezes a linebacker for just a second because they do have to read to see what the quarterback is going to do, so they can't fill that gap that's right there just in case there's a pass. When you have somebody like Ivory with the size and speed, you can pick up 5 yards easy.
Dixon, time, throws a BB at the 30, caught by Hawkins, and he takes it outside, inside the 20 at the 19-yard line, but hold it, a marker is down back at the 47-yard line.
Typically where that marker is, it's going to be a holding call. It's going to go against the offense, so the Knights are guilty of hanging on just a little bit too long. And Craig, as you know, when you get quarterbacks that have a lot of time, sometimes that offensive line, who probably hold on just about every passing play that you have, got caught on that one.
Menlo's had some big plays called back here in the first half, but they have capitalized. Had a touchdown called back, capitalized with the score. 86-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Ivory, called back, but they later scored. There's the hold. Push back the Knights with 8:22 to play next week. We'll take the circus to Gunn High School, Titan Field, under the lights.
Now that's good for me. That's going to be great. We've gone to Gunn for the last 20 yards. There's a little spirit. Nuts, but a little bit of a spirit there.
They've come out in full force. This is like the only rivals they have, so this is a huge game. Mossbacher, great effort on the wobbler at the 31-yard line. Highland, Connor, Bocce on the coverage.
Connor the closest one too. Mossbacher, that is a tough one. Bouvier was letting that ball go just as he was getting drilled. That was a good bit of penetration that time. by the Gator defensive front. And had Mossbacher made that catch, it would have been a spectacular catch, looking back over his shoulder, trying to catch his wounded duck as it was coming into his range.
So the Gators force Menlo to kick for the first time tonight. Highland and Connor back. And the punt by Boyce, high, end over end. And it'll be down at about the 37-yard line by Jeff Montgomery, 6 foot, 200-pound junior. So pretty good field position for Sacred Heart Prep, trailing 13-6 with 8:05 remaining in quarter number 2. Craig Wentz along with Kurt Edwards. Glad you're with us. The first of 10 games this fall will take you up to about the middle of November. All local, Gunn, Pally, Menlo, Atherton. And you got Sacred Heart and Menlo, the 2006 Valparaiso Bowl. Two schools separated by about a 3-wood. There's a loose ball and another fumble, and Menlo has it. Second fumble given away by Sacred Heart Prep tonight. Recovered by Chase Richard, 6'3", 180, and a junior.
That is some of the things that you just cannot do in the style offense that the Gators run. Not prolific in the passing, but you just cannot give the ball away, especially in really prime real estate. Yeah, you want to talk about some frustrating coaches? You just got a nice shot of the Gators coach.
Pete Laverato not happy. Mistakes did him in last week. Had a 12-0 lead, let it go against El Camino. There's a stop pattern. Hawkins again with that go inside outside, but doesn't fool Perry as Hawkins gets to the 30-yard line. He picked up 7. It'll bring up 2nd down and 3. 7th catch of the night already for Hawkins.
Hawkins, as I said, he's the go-to guy, just runs his pattern. Perry, corner on that side, just sat back, waited, then reacted, came on in. But you could see the big cushion that Perry was giving Hawkins. And this was a great job of just understanding the offense. Hawkins drives down hard, turns it back up inside. Dixon delivers the mail.
Leon Ivory, initially hit by Cacharo, number 79, and then polished off by J.J. Settle, number 55.
This is what you want to see if you're defensively for the Gators, is to get in there, get the pop, come across, hit them, but you've got to make that penetration across the line of scrimmage. You know, if there's a penalty, fine, but start establishing defensively that you can play on the other side of the line effectively.
3rd down, 4. Timeout Menlo with 6:44 to go in the half. Dixon last week in the 42-0 win against San Mateo was 10 out of 13 for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is 9 for 12 early in this one. His pass efficiency rating through the roof early in the 2006 season. Well, these games wouldn't be possible without some generous support. West Bay Game Night is a presentation of the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center. Media Center's sports coverage is made possible by a generous grant from Cable Co-op, sponsored by the Palo Alto Daily News, the Upper Silicon Valley circulation leader, on the web at paloaltodailynews.com, and Sunbelt Reynolds. All your equipment needs, one company, online at www.sunbeltreynolds.com. Pete Laverato looking things over. How do we hold on to the football? We're still in this one. We're playing well. Craig Wentz along with Kurt Edwards. Big crowd and a beautiful night from Woodside High School on a Saturday evening, September 9th.
Well, with 6:44 to go here in the second quarter, Craig, big defensive series for the Gators. They are going to have to come up, turn over somehow, but one way or another, deny the Knights.
From a bunch formation, Ivory right up the gut, got the first down inside the 25 to about the 24.
Craig, one of the things that makes the passing game so effective, and you already cited the numbers on Hawkins with his 7 receptions on the evening already, is Ivory, is his ability to get and just go banging right up the middle, knocking people down as he goes. And that's just huge when you can do that one. If you can establish an inside presence on the running game, linebackers and backs have to respect that in just a little bit.
Ivory, 12 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week. And the win! Hawkins, what a pass by Dixon! He threaded that between 3 Gators, and somehow Hawkins came up with his second touchdown catch of the evening.
Beautiful time again. You can see the opportunity. Dixon even threw that one while moving, maybe off his back foot, so it gives you an idea of the strength that he has. Choknova, number 54, was coming on a blitz, albeit too late, and that was just a nice little bit of pitch and catch here on the football field.
That was a dandy toss. They're going for 2. Look at this, hijinks, touchdown, 2-point good for Bouvier. Sacred Heart's got to put a stop to this, otherwise this might get out of hand. So the great pass from Dixon to Hawkins, and then this nugget to Bouvier on the 2-point conversion.
And Bouvier started to move, and he can, just a little bit before the snap. And as soon as that snap was down, he had already cleared the holder who just pitched it right out to him. There wasn't any help over on that far side. It's typically when you get ready to rush the point after touchdown, you've got to have at least somebody out there playing fireman. But not that time, because most of you want to get a hard break on the inside and see if you can block it.
7 plays, 47 yards, culminating on the Dixon to Hawkins hookup. 21-6. Knights on top with 6:16 to go in quarter number 2, and Menlo is as good as advertised. A lot of good athletes out there.
A lot of good athletes, a lot of good overall team speed, Craig. And that's one of the things that gave San Mateo fits last week. And it's the same thing right now that are giving many of the players on the Gators fits.
A lot of seniors out there for Menlo. Sacred Heart predominantly sophomores and juniors. Hard running by Highland across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Initial hit by Chris Giglio, 5'10", 180, and a junior. That'll be first down and 10 for the Gators.
Simple little wedge formation. Unfortunately, runs right into Connor, number 21, and slows him down. And once he bounced off of Connor's back, there was a whole bunch of blue helmets and white shirts right there to wrap him up.
Next week, Menlo is at Mountain View, 2 o'clock. Saturday, Mountain View very good this year. That's going to be a great non-league matchup. Sacred Heart will host Mills at 1:30 in Atherton. Both games next Saturday. If you just joined us, Craig Wentz with Kurt Edwards. Misha Berkowitz is our spotter. We're from Woodside High School. Menlo is 1-0 this year after beating San Mateo in its opener 42-0. Sacred Heart is 0-1, losing to El Camino 20-19. Sacred Heart also out without their 1,000-yard rusher from year ago, Anthony Reich. He hurt a knee and appears to be out for the season. But they do have Connor, they do have Highland. They like the run, they got depth. The thing is now they fall behind Kurt by 15, something we thought might happen, but now you got to start throwing the ball. Not yet, still too early, but down the road, you have to put it in the air.
You do have to do that, but you've got to start these putting the ball on the turf and getting it turned over. So the physical mistakes, which right now are just wreaking havoc on the Gators, is just going to have to stop, because that stuff, obviously, that stops your forward progress and potential touchdown scoring drives.
Second down, 2. Highland again. Needs a block, does. Got a first down. Out across the 40 to the 41. In on the tackle, Corley. And Geenan. Geenan 5'11", 175.
Out there blocking, Perry, number 21. Capoville, number 32, doing a good job of getting out around the corner, throwing the blocks for the flyback Highland. And that's some of the things they're going to have to do, but not only throw the block, but also sustain the block.
Sikowski down the seam and complete. What is big tight end, Matt Brzezinski. He had a catch for 12 yards last week. That's the Polish connection, Kurt. Sikowski to Brzezinski.
And that ball was just a little bit too hot to handle, but Brzezinski was well covered by the two safeties sitting back there, and they just recognized that release from the big tight end. We have not seen Brzezinski's number called.
Great position in an offense like this. Run, run, run. You use him, 6'3", 225. That was intended for Connor. They tried to set up the screen on a 2nd and 10, and now it's 3rd down and 10 with 5:10 to play until the break.
Screen was going to be set up here to the near side of the offensive right. But with that quarterback, Sikowski, And when I finally looked back to see where he was still backpedaling around the 20-yard line. That told me that there was a lot of pressure being put on the young quarterback, and he had to get rid of it a little bit sooner than he wanted to.
Now, Sikowski's not a big drink of soda. He's 5'10", 155, but he's just a 10th grader, a sophomore, Highland Emotion. They don't ask him to do the impossible. Can he do it here? Is that a flag? No. Well, there's the situation where Chase Richard, the free safety, did not turn around. And as that pass was intended for Braden Courier, you make the call.
Sikowski got absolutely leveled, and you're not really letting the receiver go back right through it. It should be, face guarding could have been called because you're right, the corner did not turn around to look to see where the ball was and continue to drive through the receiver, denying the receiver the opportunity to come back to the football. But I didn't see the flag hit the deck.
The old trick I learned from a coach one time, if you're playing defensive back and you turn your head towards the ball 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to be called for contact.
You're right.
Turn your head and look for the ball. At least give an effort. Hawkins done it all tonight. Let's see how he does on a punt return. He got the perimeter. He got midfield, pushed out of the 49-yard line. Tackled by Sam Chuckno. He's been all over the fake turf tonight. 6'2", 210, and a senior.
Watch how this picket fence is formed over on the right side. Hawkins gets the catch. Watch the blocks. There's one. Another good one. Just gets at beautiful speed. And this is what makes Menlo so gosh darn dangerous, is that team speed, that ability to get around the corner, play the blocks off, and then just essentially outrun the defense. Chuck Nova, you saw him, number 54, giving a gallant effort to just get that number 18 out of bounds.
Sacred Heart cannot afford for Menlo to find the end zone. Mossbacker underneath. Got a first down, a gain of 13 at the 36-yard line. 4:40 left. Second quarter. Menlo up 21-6.
Now is a case where Dixon goes back, has all the time in the world, looks down the field, and Mossbacker just comes right underneath. He's right in the flats, right behind the linebackers who have dropped off the ball. He's sitting there wide open, and Dixon does a nice job. And what makes him so effective, I think, right now, Craig, he's patient.
Yes.
He throws a nice ball. He is not hurried at all.
Bingo. Got time. Little inside give to Ivory. By Chuck Nova. Look at this. Escapes somehow inside the 20, inside the 15, down to the 12. Little extracurricular markers thrown, and that's probably against Sacred Heart. That'll move it half the distance to the goal with 4:12 to go. And the last thing Sacred Heart can afford right now, Curtis, to lose a composure with close to 28 minutes left in this game.
No, you can't do that when there's a sign, personal foul, going to go against the Gators. The frustrating thing, if the Gators are going to be frustrated, I can understand why, and part of it is the simple fact they're trying to tackle, but it's above the waist. They're grip and hold, they're not getting a piece of the jersey, or they're not sliding down, gripping, sliding on down, pinning the knees together. A lot of upper body attempts, a lot of arm tackles, and let's face it, the Knights have some fast and strong running backs, and they're running through those types of tackles.
Yeah, Pete Lavarado and his staff, I think they've noticed that too. Too many missed tackles by Sacred Heart Prep, and you hit it right on the head. You got to get at the waist or below and a wrap up, because these kids are just too strong. You're talking 6'2", 200, 6'3", 210.
Yeah, one of the things, if you go to some of the practices, and we used to teach it 100 years ago, and I know it's still taught because I've watched Stanford College of San Mateo, who we used to do in the historical past. I'd love to be able to do them again one of these days. A great ball club up there. They teach, they'll come in, pop, and you just see a hunk of jersey in the hands of the tacklers. They're not just trying to wrap around. They're going to get in the side, grab hold of the jerseys with their hands. And they're basically taught to do that. If they can come up underneath the shoulder pads and grab jerseys, a much better chance of making the tackle.
First out and goal from the 7-yard line. Well put, Coach. Ivory. Maybe chiseled out a couple of yards. Number 64, Rob Moran, 6'3", 260, big boy. He's a junior. Made the initial hit for Sacred Heart right there.
That's a great job. See how quick that defense is converging on that tackle. Good job. The hole was open. The offensive line did a fine job of opening up that hole. But very quickly, the defense was able to react and close it.
No gain for Ivory. 2nd and goal, 7. Slant pattern sniffed out by Joe Perry. Intended for Hawkins again. He already has recorded a couple of touchdown passes tonight, bring up 3rd down and goal with 3:34 left in the half. And what has really come up to be a very, very big play for the Sacred Heart defense.
Going to have to step up. Number 55, I think it was Subtle over there, the linebacker on the outside, got in the way of the receiver just long enough to delay the route of the receiver coming over the center, which caused that pass to go incomplete.
Wide outs and slots on each side. Watch out for Ivory up the middle. Might be a great call right here. There it is. And the Gators had a feel for it as Cacharo made, or checked that 64 Rob Moran made his 2nd tackle of the sequence, and now it's 4th and goal.
And Moran doing a good job. You can see the tackle right down around the knees. Beautifully executed it. Textbook, you go back to the double days and when they worked on just form tackling, that's what you want to see. Close up that gap, keep your wits about you, make the hit.
3 minutes and rolling, 2nd quarter. Huge play now for the Gators, down 15. Menlo really put a dent in Sacred Heart here. 4th and goal, pitch, gonna go perimeter, cut in, Ivory, did he get in? Yes, he did. Leon Ivory with his first score of the night, 3rd of the season, and Menlo starting to tear it open a bit. They're up 27-6.
And that is a good job of how that offense string is able to get out around the outside. Here's speed. Ivory just going to be able to turn that corner, but you can see everybody sitting out on that far side, blocking away. Lissette, number 76, out there throwing a big block.
Bouvier, the point after, again, short and to the right. Well, if there's one thing Menlo will have to work on, maybe the kicking game, and right now that's the least of their worries. 2:40 to play, 2nd quarter. The new score is Menlo School 27, Sacred Heart Prep 60. Knights now have ripped off 20 consecutive points.
And they've done it just like they on the opening drive, moving the ball around, using the different weapons. Good play calling coming in from the side, and tremendous execution by the skilled people. And I'm referring to the center, the guard, and the tackle. We already know Moschbacher and what Dixon's doing, and Hawkins and Ivory, but those guys up on the front are doing a great job of just hanging in there. Coggins, number 50, Doctor, even though he had a malpractice suit filed against him on one of the plays where he knocked down his own player for a nice
his own patient.
His own patient. Well, he did some nice surgical blocking on that last drive, number 52. Flaherty, number 55, also throwing, and we said Lysette's call a couple of different times, the big offensive tackle. Their ability to do some nice trap blocking, good zone blocking, has just really made the offense run.
Boyce the kick, and again in a run and shoot or spread offense, really with no tight end, your linemen become that much more valuable. Connor on the return, grabbed by the ankles at the 24-yard line. I believe that was Sam Foster in on the special teams tackle. 5'7" to 145, a senior. And an imperative drive here for Sacred Heart in the final 2.5 of the 2nd quarter.
See him trying to get around the corner?
Nice
tackle. Good shoestring tackle. Well executed. That looked like it might have been Foster, Sam Foster, number 21. Takes that shot for the single leg takedown. I wonder if he's a wrestler. Looked like he had good wrestling form on that tackle.
First down, 10. Sikowski up for grabs. Wrong guy to give it to. Bouvier 20. Bouvier 10. Bouvier goal line. Bouvier touchdown.
Check for Laundry. None to be found.
One thing is to heave it up in desperation with the pressure. Another thing is to toss it to Mr. Bouvier. And Menlo is starting to put this one out of reach.
Well, one of the things you're seeing is that defensive front They've got their ears pinned back, and they're just snorting and blowing, and they're coming right after the quarterback. And Sikowski threw up a helicopter, and Bouvier was right underneath it, making that catch. And some nifty footwork to get in the end zone. He had to avoid a couple of tacklers.
Bouvier has tallied 2 touchdowns in the first half. Hawkins has scored twice. Ivory once.
Spread the wealth. And it's been those turnovers. We've watched Sacred Heart fumble twice, give the ball away, now also on an interception. And those types of things are the ones that they hurt the young clubs, and they really put the heat on the young quarterback, because now you're asking that quarterback to dig yourself out of a hole. That's tough to do.
Pete Lavorado checked out Menlo last week, said they look like a machine. He's a good man who knows his football, but he really run into a buzzsaw tonight. And probably not surprised, probably more surprised by some of the errors his kids have made here in the first half. The 2 fumbles, there's Pete, and you look at the keys to the game he had. Don't give up the big play. Well, Menlo has had 3 long time-consuming drives, but they have scored a couple of touchdowns or set up scores by taking turnovers and cashing them in for 6 points.
Yeah, they actually, one of the big plays was that touchdown by Ivory on the kickoff return that was called back. But it didn't seem to deter them much. It just took them a little longer to get to the end zone.
Oh, Bouvier's got some oxygen on the sideline, so let's see if he can put one through the uprights. He's been short and right his last 2. There you go, nice kick. 34-6 Menlo. 2:21 left, second quarter. Here's our fact of the half. In just a little under 6 quarters of football so far this year, Menlo has outscored its 2 opponents 75-6. How about them apples?
Well picked.
Well picked.
Very, very impressive. We'll say it's both sides of the ball, as you pointed out. Very impressive offensively to rack up those numbers. And frankly, this is the first time that I've seen Menlo obviously this year. We only saw them once last year, but they are an offensive machine. They execute very, very well. They do have the quick reads, which is one of the things that Coach Newton has been working on. He's also, both of these squads, Craig, and talking with the 2 coaches and just knowing about the academics that is necessary to get into both of these schools. Very intelligent, very gifted athletes, and they can adjust to things on the fly, and they learn quickly. In the system that both offenses run to, you have to be able to identify and learn quickly.
The thing you got to worry about with both these programs, injuries, and not very, very deep. Connor from the 2. Connor to the 10, returned at 8 yards. Open field tackle, Andrew Geenan. 5'11", 175, the senior. We have called him before. 1st and 10, Gators down by 28.
Poor Connor on that one, got to the kickoff, then muffed it down there and couldn't find the handle to the suitcase. If you're a return man, you know that you've got to pick up this football, and you know people are showing up down there in a hurry. You just don't know where they are. So sometimes you got to grab a couple times to get that handle.
1st and 10. Connor, nowhere. Lost a couple. Jeff Montgomery and a host of others in the Gator backfield.
Just a simple little turn, and you can see the penetration right in there so very quickly. Schwartz, and it looked like number 20 Schwartz was right in there on the tackle.
Our level 10 pianist.
Is that? Well, don't hurt your fingers, pal.
Level 10. He's like, I hear the step. I play the fiddle, but I don't play the piano. He's stepped away
You're
from
a
concert
cotton
hall.
picker too, but outside of that, you're fine.
Highland dives for a couple. Clock down to 90 seconds to play. We mentioned earlier that Leon Ivory, number 3 in Menlo, a level 7 pianist. Coach Newton told me this earlier in the week. I couldn't believe it. And then Schwartz is a level 10, and we remember Mike Reed, who was an All-American at Penn State in the late 60s, played for the Bengals, All-Pro in the 70s. The only athlete I know that could effectively play the piano until I heard of these 2 youngins. And Ivory's got the great name for a pianist, too. Highland, 23-yard line, but that goes back to what you said earlier. students at both these schools do so many different things. They don't just study and play sports like we did. They're in theater, they play instruments, they're helping out in the community, etc.
Yeah, Washbacher also very good. You know, he's a thespian. Gets some leading parts in some of the plays there. So you're right. And it's, you know, we've talked a little bit about the Menlo, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we dove in a little bit more on the history and some of these kids over at Sacred Heart. Find the same type of kid over there.
Just the information you come across talking to people, and well, a lot of talented kids. A hold on Sacred Heart, things not going well. After one quarter, Menlo had a slim 7-6 lead, but since then, 27 unanswered points for the Knights. They have traveled 70 yards in 10 plays, 47 yards in 6 plays, 56 yards in 7 plays. They have scored on an interception return, at a kickoff return, called back on a penalty. Here's Highland. And Highland across the 10 to the 12. Under a minute to go until halftime.
And that's what you really want to need. You want to get out of your predicament as you're in when you're back up against the goal line. And Highland did that on that, just that little sweep. Flyback comes around, nice job. Sikorsky does a good job turning and handle, but that time you saw a good blocking pattern. One of the things that I like about that number 7, not the biggest thing in the world. It's 5'10", 160-pound senior. He's quick, and he is not afraid to lower the shoulder and go north and south, so he's an impressive runner.
Nate Coggins, the Menlo middle linebacker, made that last hit, and the defense very impressive. Schwartz, Corley, Curtis, Lysette, Flaherty, O'Halloran, Boyce, Ivory, Coggins, Giglio in the defensive backfield, Humphreys, Mossbacker, Richard, and Bouvier. 4th down, and Sacred Heart will have to punt. A nice catch of the ball and a kick by Courier. End over end, but great under the circumstances. Bounces out of the 33-yard line. So Menlo still not done here in the second quarter. Look at this catch, Kurt. Saved 2 points.
Great job, and the ability to stay cool under pressure, because you can see that on-rushing person coming over figuring, if I can get a block and knock it out of the end zone, I've got a safety. If I can get a block and then flop on it on the end zone, I get myself 6 points.
Pete Laverado always rooting his team on. It's a long season. The Gators play in the Bay Football League. But next week they'll have Mills, entertaining Mills next Saturday, 1:30 in Atherton. Menlo will be at Mountain View for I got to check, 1:30 or 2 o'clock kickoff. Dixon's pass, I believe he bobbled that, incomplete.
Can't believe Hawkins actually didn't get it and hang on to that one.
Happens to all of us.
I don't think you ever dropped a pass, you were telling me. You had that thing about 2 or 3 different times. Finally it hit the turf.
Yep, happens to all of us.
That was the year you retired from football, wasn't it? Such a traumatic situation in your life.
Dixon stops, throws, has Hawkins at the 20-yard line.
That was Perry coming up from his corner position, number 23, to make the hit.
Down to 25 seconds to go. Dixon needs a play. Hustling up now. 1 timeout left for Menlo. Penalty marker is down. There is some movement, so the clock will stop with 13.2 seconds remaining, and Dixon is down at the 23-yard line.
That is not the person that you want to have injured, although they have a pretty good crop of individuals that come in behind him.
Yeah. So Corley's the backup quarterback. He got popped. That might just be a hit to the leg, or maybe he had the wind knocked out of him. You see the way they're working on him now. It's nothing below the knees, which is good news. That's one of those plays where you see the flag, and some of the guys think the play is dead. Some are going full speed, and that's where accidents happen.
You always go through the whistle. It's easy to say and tough to coach. But those players that do, they're usually going to end up making some kind of a hero play. I have seen situations like that where flag goes up offensively, you might as well go at 100 miles an hour, because chances are it is going to be against you.
Sure.
But if you haven't heard the whistle, you figure that's going to be a defensive foul, so you might as well go for the home run.
So Dixon, Andrews seems to be okay. talented 6'2", 170-pound senior quarterback. About 2-3 weeks ago, during the preseason when kids were in double days, and Menlo had a competition between 3 quarterbacks, and Dixon emerged and has been the starter and very impressive last week.
If I thought so, Dixon was staying in the game, and high school rules, and probably college also, I haven't boned up on the college rules yet. You are down on the field and the timeout's called for your injury. You have to sit out at least one play, and we've got the rotation of the quarterbacks in there.
So here's Corley, a 6'3", 190-pound or 200-pound junior, and he'll throw his first pass of the game. He throws a bullet down the middle intended for Bouvier at the 3, incomplete, 8 seconds to go.
Look out for lightning coming off that thing.
Mark Newton said that Dixon's a fantastic quarterback, led us well in that 42-0 win over San Mateo, but we got good depth. The Corley's got a rocket.
Well, he just showed it on that one. That pitch, unfortunately, was 90 miles an hour, just a little bit low and away of its intended target, but that had some smoke coming off that ball.
34-6 Menlo, looking for more. Just a few ticks left in the second quarter. John Haynes, number 26, comes to the near side. 4 will be in the pattern. Throw a little hitch pattern, incomplete, intended for Hawkins. Pressure applied by Oliver Gordon, 56. Chuck Nova was also there with 5.5 seconds to go.
That was probably one of the few, or at least some of the rare times, that we actually saw that good defensive penetration and an actual hit on the quarterback as they were releasing. Bear in mind, the quarterback was only about a stride and a half away from the center when he got popped, but still, Gordon was able to get across the line of scrimmage, which has been a very tough assignment for any of the Gator defensive linemen.
Dixon back in the game. 3 receivers to the near side. Ivory the lone setback. From the gun, oopsie daisy. Dixon does a smart thing and just falls on it, let the clock roll. That will do it. The first half is history. Now they're going to say 0.1 seconds remaining. There we go.
I was waiting for him. It's like, let's not stop it here, fellas.
So after leading 7-6 after one quarter, Menlo explodes 27 unanswered points. Our score at the break, Menlo School 34 and Sacred Heart Prep 6. As you are watching West Bay Game Night, and we'll be back with the second half right after this. And Ivory leads Menlo with 81 yards rushing. He also has a touchdown. Dixon, 12 for 20, 138 yards, 3 touchdown passes. And Hawkins, 9 catches, 114 yards in the first half. Good return out to the 28-yard line by Highland. It'll be first down and 10 for Sacred Heart, which needs to get something going on a consistent basis to get back in this game.
Watch Highland. He just attacks this one. Just a tremendous burst of speed right up through the middle. Just a good job of wrapping him up by Chase Richards. 6'3", 182 pounds. Did a nice job of jumping on the back of the pony Highland and riding him right down into the turf.
First and 10, Gators using the fly offense. It was effective. It was spotty in the first half. Menlo's done a good job defensively. Cotter turns the corner. Cotter out of the 40-yard line. Bounced out by Taylor Humphreys, but not after a gain of 31 yards.
Again, the fly is designed to really be effective if you block and get your runner on the outside, and you can see Connor do that. Good burst of speed got him out around the corner, and he just picked up the rest. And just having Highland come out with that burst of speed up the middle, you can see that the Gators are coming up. Obviously, the coaches got them fired up, and hopefully they can execute better.
Here's Highland. It bounces off tackle, the fly back. Whittles out a couple of yards now to the 38-yard line. The ball is loose, and Menlo has it for the third time tonight. 3 fumble recoveries for Menlo in a little over a half. And that has been the story here tonight. 4th turnover by Sacred Heart Prep.
we'll go back to the start of the game. Coaches, keys, and generally when you talk to a coach, you say what the keys are. Well, we can't turn the ball over. We have ground control, maintain the clock, all of that fun stuff. Some of the things that we've just said, Sacred Heart continues to put that pigskin on the turf, and Menlo pounces on it every time.
Counter, Ivory wants the edge, has it. Big hit, collision at the 47-yard line. Bocce with the tackle, but not after Ivory picked up 8.
Pair of threes colliding with each other. Nice hit by Bocce as he's coming up really quick from his defensive secondary position, the rover back to which Bocce plays. And he laid some serious hit on Ivory. It's a very impressive tackle.
Ivory up near 90 yards now on the ground. He garnered 72 in the win over San Mateo a week ago. Injured most of last year with a bad wheel. Outstanding back. He can run you over, and then he can take you to distance with his speed. Bouvier in the flat. Bouvier with moves. Bouvier inside Gator property at the 35-yard line. And a big gain of 19.
LaRue, number 12, finally gets him down. Just a little swing pass, just a little out, little roll. Bouvier out there, and you can see there really isn't anybody there. A nice little inside move, burst of speed, and Bouvier down there, and LaRue was there to make that saving tackle. But you just get an idea. Every time some of these receivers or Menlo gets up to the line of scrimmage, the team speed that they have, and they're about a step quicker than the Gators.
Dixon steps into one, down the seam. Oh, a big hit and a flag. Bocce with a big hit. And he's going to be whistled. I don't know if they called that a headshot or it was a little late. The ball flew by, but markers did go down inside the 5-yard line. That was a big hit by Matt Bocce, number 3.
Bocce went in with the intent and purpose only to just lay a hit on the intended receiver. If the timing could have been right on the money, ball and receiver arriving at the same time, could have been there.
I believe it was R.J. Carver, number 4, that ran that skinny post route, and he really got buckled inside the 5-yard line. It is Carver. He's up and all right. That's good news. But the Carver, with one catch for 37 yards and a touchdown a week ago, really took a wallop there.
You get up in the air, you get those ribs exposed, and you can take a pretty good pop. And that's what happened that time. Is Bocce really didn't go for the ball. He went for the receiver and got there just a little bit too soon.
Bocce 5'10", 160. Carver.
You know who'd be impressed with a hit like that? Jack Tatum.
Any Raider would have been impressed. I think any defensive back would have been impressed.
Yeah, from the Bears area, Fensick would have loved that hit.
So that's 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10. Dixon short drop. Whip it out far side. Mossbacker, another missed tackle. And finally wrapped up by J.J. Suttle, the outside linebacker, just a sophomore, 6', 175. But I don't have enough fingers and toes to count the missed tackles by Sacred Heart tonight.
Well, a lot of them was a simple result of just great footwork by the receivers. We see Mossbacker step inside and do just a nice reverse pivot. And you get that much elusive foot movement by the receiver, it's tough for the defender to really square up. And therein lies the problem. The defenders aren't squaring up and going for the big hit.
Ivory trying to find something, and then maybe got a couple of yards before brought down by Suttle again.
That was a lot of movement for a couple of yards. Ivory showing his athletic talent. Stepping in, seeing there's nothing in the hole, being patient. See if something opens and jumping over a would-be tackler and picking up the best he can, a couple of on that play.
Our producer and director tonight is Craig Judson in the truck, and he's joined by graphics Doug Smith and Ron Holman on replay and audio. Craig Wentz with Kurt Edwards. Our spotter is Misha Berkowitz. We're at Woodside High School on this Saturday, September 9th. Beautiful evening. Menlo in command, up 34-6 and driving with 9:45 left in quarter number 3. Looks like Dixon's mixing it up now. Might see some type of fade route here, maybe. Nope, going post, incomplete. Marker down at the 10-yard line. Someone might have moved. Dixon down again.
Chuck Nova came through and just lowered the boom on Dixon. See, he's checking for the parts to make sure that they're all there. You get in there and the quarterback starts moving people around. Offensive line can get just a little bit antsy. Once you get them in that set position, they like to get down within a short amount of time, fire out and hit somebody. The guy that I thought was really impressive, Cavender, did his job. He's a center, number 59. Snapped the ball in an immediate quick little cut block on the person in front of him. Chaknova, number 54, linebacker, did a super job of coming through and leveling the boom on the quarterback.
5-yard penalty on Menlo. Will be second down. And goal from the 12-yard line. But at that offensive line for Menlo, Kurt Lysette, Flaherty, Cavender, Coggins, Doctor. You know, no tight end, so they got to keep Dixon comfortable in that pocket. And they've done that tonight. And springing holes for this young man, Ivory, but that time he is stuffed. Had a nice play by Gordon. So
Yeah.
Morris got in there in the tackle, number 50. Didn't have a 50. It is Morris, 6'2", 210, a junior.
Morris came in with the tackle, but you saw a lot of action occur with good pops, good hits all the way around. And that's just some of the things that you're going to have to be able to read when you're out there as a quarterback and a running back. And there's a lot more activity on that defensive front by the Gators.
3rd and goal from the 14. Dixon. Wrapped up and brought down. Well, one of the few times that Gator defensive line has gotten to Dixon tonight.
They did a good job, and what they got away from was Lysette, the big tackle on that far side. Consistent, persistent play by that defense, and the simple fact that the great defensive secondary play, Dixon did not have anybody to throw the ball to.
Ryan Burton created that sack, number 74, 6'2", 192, and a senior, defensive lineman for Sacred Heart. So 4th down, and why not? You're up by 28, 8:30 to play in the 3rd. Go for the end zone here. Dixon under pressure, flips it off to Ivory, eludes one tackle, another at the 10, marker down, finally yanked down at the 6-yard line, and Kurt, you're holding your wrist, so you think it's going to be a hold.
It's not a broken arm.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we have a doctor on the field. Maybe they can help it out.
Not very good. No, you're wrong, my friend.
Oh, okay. Usually on a pitch like that,
I thought the same thing.
you get it in there. That was a great play. You know, very good heads-up play by Dixon.
The offense. So
It
the
is a hold.
decline the penalty.
I haven't been wrong all season. I've only been at it for a little over two
Couple
quarters.
hours. 8:20 to go. Anyway, to make a long story short, penalty is declined, as they would say in North Carolina, and Sacred Heart will take over on downs.
Very succinct.
Next week, we're at Gunn High School under the lights. That's right. Gunn has already played a couple of games under the lights. They're 0-2. Very young team. Matt McGinn, first-year coach. Good man. Headed in the right direction, but they're kind of thin. They'll be taking on Carlmont. Carlmont was thumped by Pali on Friday, 49-8 in Belmont. Palo Alto's a very good football team. This might be Earl Hansen's best team in a long, long time. That's saying a lot. But a long way to go. Pally's got to go to Burlingame, play at Oak Grove, play at Los Gatos, have Wilcox, very tough schedule. We'll see Highland get in the edge and hit low by Humphreys. Taylor's had a good game. Junior, 5'10", 175.
He's good. He's out there on an island, usually running in a corner. He's over on the right side. But it's a nice job of being able to read the receiver as well as what's occurring in that offense. As we said, the fly offense can be deceptive.
This is Connor. Dances out at about the 15-yard line, escorted by Bouvier.
Now, we've called Bouvier's number many, many times on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively extremely active. You look out and watch him, number 6 in that white jersey. Just does a really nice job of just knowing how to play, read. Does a really good job of closing in and making tackles.
Bouvier has a touchdown reception, 34 yards from Dixon back in the first half. Also an interception return for a score. He was the PAL Ocean Division Utility Player of the Year in 05 as Highland weaves across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. It'll be about 3 yards shy of the first down, and with 7:23 left in the third quarter.
Here comes Highland again. Nice job of stepping up inside, and that's one of those, how in the world did somebody get through all of those blockers? But Chase Richards did, number 48, to make that hit.
Second down, call it a long 3.
A longer 3 now.
A wall of blue and white. The boys in the traveling white jerseys and blue breeches have done a good job defensively. And as you see Connor going backwards, the initial hit by number 54 of the Knights, and that is Jeff Montgomery.
Also in on that one, and just watching him play linebacker, number 50, Coggins. Right side linebacker. It's just very good. Being able to step in the hole and now fly for the reads. And in on the tackle.
Giordano Capavilla, 5'8", 175, a junior, his second carry. He got himself a first down out near the 30-yard line.
Watching the linebackers for Menlo, and I just mentioned that Coggins and Giglio being the two of them that are the linebackers, they do a nice job. They're just sitting right back off the line of scrimmage, doing a great job of reading. That time, Giglio got blown off the line of scrimmage.
Out to the 33-yard line. Hit by Chris Giglio, who you mentioned, Kurt, and linebacking core, Giglio, Coggins, Ivory. That's one thing that Coach Mark Newton wanted to do earlier in the week when we talked to him. He said, look, we got to keep the ball away from Sacred Heart Prep. Can't give them a lead because they'll just grind the clock. But you know what? When you can take advantage of turnovers, Sacred Heart has turned it over 4 times here tonight, 3 fumbles and interception, and Menlo has cashed them in for 20 points. That's huge. They're up by 28 right now with 5:49 to play in quarter number 3. I thought interesting too last week in that 42-0 win over San Mateo. Menlo just gave up 16 yards rushing.
They did. Corley, number 8, was guilty on that tackle. It's not a tackle, I'm sorry. A little offside.
Second out.
Second down coming up. 5:49 left, third quarter. First of 10 scheduled games this year. We get back to the hotel tonight.
Staying at the Hilton?
Absolutely.
Yeah, babe.
Winged out. Caught. Brzezinski, the big tight end, his first catch of the evening. Brought down by Richard. Enough for a first down at the 49-yard line.
Here's what's impressive about Brzezinski. Catches it, lowers the shoulder, keeps trying to go in there. Hawkins, the tackler, says, let me see. You're bigger than I am. I'm going low on this tackle. Does a nice little grab and wrap and go for the legs.
Sikowski to Brzezinski for 9. Oh, what a big pop.
Hello.
Hello, Ryan O'Halloran. Comes in there.
O'Halloran had a little lick of the Irish on the
he-
poor boy.
Blarney stick. He led a level on that one. He lost 7 yards. Look at this head.
Hello. You know what? He didn't even follow through on it. There could have been a lot more damage.
O'Connor was lucky he didn't lose the ball there. O'Halloran has had a good game. He's a sophomore. Wow, 6'3", 215.
Yeah, he sits up in the defensive end here on the left side.
Number 42. That's our hit of the night. Highland needs a couple of blocks. Couple of good moves. Someone got the cage hit. Bouvier.
Bouvier got caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Well, I don't see a flag yet.
Oh, I have. I've seen 3 or 4 go in.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Bouvier's jumping up and down.
I see him now.
Foul, face mask.
Well, that's a
Okay, we're going to tackle.
that's a big one right there. That's 15.
That's more of the intentional face mask. That's not the oops, sorry about it face mask.
Take another look at it here.
Get to the outside. Bouvier fighting off 2 blockers. There's that reach. And when that head comes around,
Ooh, I don't know.
that may have been more
Look
shoulder
at-
pads
yeah,
than anything
there
else.
you
But,
go.
you know, the guys with the striped shirts and the white golf slacks, they didn't think so. Bouvier, but when he was called on that one, jumped up and down doing a little protest.
I'm innocent.
I'm innocent. I stand innocent.
Go to the replay.
And I want my attorney.
1st and 10. Look at this. Gators on the move. They haven't done this since midway in the first quarter when they scored their lone touchdown at a Highland 1-yard run. That brought the Gators to within 1 of Menlo at 7-6. Since then, the Knights have rattled off 27 consecutive points and lead at 34-6 with 4:40 to go in the third. Craig Wentz with Kurt Edwards. 1st of 10 for you this year. We'll have Gunn in Carlmont next week, and we'll have MA in Silver Creek, and Palo Alto will have against Wilcox and Gunn and Santa Clara, and good schedule till the middle of November.
We'll be busy. As you said, this is the first of 10 of them to waltz our way through.
Yeah, it's good to be out of the detention farm and working again.
I was wondering when they were going to let you out, but it's nice to know that your good behavior is
6 months.
6 months? 6 months without a microphone in his mouth. Man, that's a long time.
1st and 10. Sikowski, the sophomore quarterback. Going to whip it out here to the near side to Connor. Connor, tough running back. Connor had 3 touchdowns last week. Looking for one here tonight. Dances out of the 20-yard line. Pickup of 22 yards on the connection from Sikowski to Connor. And they'll move the chains for the boys in red.
Nice little swing pass to Connor. We've talked about his great breakaway speed, and he's able to do that very, very effectively. Whatever also helps on him was a block by Brzezinski. And is there laundry on the field? Yes, there is.
Late marker.
There's going to be a lot of those. And that's right about the spot where Brzezinski threw his block.
I think the refs are throwing green handkerchiefs.
Either if they hit the green turf, they turn yellow really quick.
Now still early in the year. The Menlo seems to be clicking on all cylinders. Going to be a hold on Sacred Heart, and that wipes out a nice sequence there on the Connor catch and run.
That was one of the things that you're always worried about. That was a great catch, but the downfield blocking, that's where the holding was called.
1st down 10. Highland the flyback. Seen this a few times. He gets a lead block, trying to find a seam. Inside the 40 down to the 36-yard line. Well, he got some of the penalty yardage back.
Notice how he uses his hand, puts his hand on the blocker, takes that angle and works his way forward. Giglio, number 51, one of the many Menlo Knights in on the hit. We've got a down Gator.
That is Brzezinski, the big tight end, 6'3", 225.
If he keeps pounding that turf, we're going to have a hole in it.
Just a sophomore. Well, you look at the San Jose Mercury prep football rankings. Valley Christian lost this week, so they're going to lose their number 1 spot. But Los Gatos is still there. Butch Catalico, a friend of ours, won his 200th career game. Congratulations to him. Palo Alto ranked 3. Now, this team is loaded. The high expectations. They got key people at the key positions. Experienced line. Earl Hanson's got to be excited about his team, and they got a secret weapon, a 260-pound tailback. He shares duties in the backfield. You folks can see Palo Alto 3 times this season. We'll have them against Wilcox, Santa Clara, and Gunn. And we'll have Gunn next week under the lights in Palo Alto against Carlmont. Well, Brzezinski's coming out. Looks like he's favoring his right leg. It might be an ankle. I hope the young man is okay and can bounce back either tonight or next week when the Gators host Mills, 1:30 Saturday in Atherton. 4:05 to play, quarter number 3. Sacred Heart on the move, down to by 28 points. Three bunch to the near side. Sikowski's going to the far side. That's Highland. And Highland is promptly wrestled out of bounds by Bouvier, his 5th tackle of the evening.
I wonder right now if you're looking for moral victories, the Gators would love to have one, and getting 6 on the board would be one of those moral victories. Those moral victories are just a lot of fun to have, especially when situations like this occur.
Well, you know, when a game, you've been around football a lot, you played it, you coached it. When a game gets out of hand and you face a big deficit entering the second half, you want to try to outscore your opponent in the second half to say, hey, you know.
Well, you win something.
Yeah, we won the second half. Highland. He's taking some big hits tonight. He just keeps on chugging. Highland coming off a 105-yard performance last week in the loss to El Camino is near the 90-yard mark here tonight. That'll be enough for a first down. It'll move the sticks. No, they're going to mark him short. It's going to be 4th and 1, excuse me.
Yeah, but at this stage of the game, they're going to have to go for it, Craig. You talk about those victories. Did we outgain them? Did we outscore them? Here's where you're going to have to come up, and the line's going to have to really suck it up and go for it.
Straight dive, second effort, got it for Connor. Still going, carrying white jerseys. What an effort by Matt Connor. Gained 100 yards last week with 3 touchdowns. Appeared to be stopped shy of the first down marker and kicked it into a second and third gear, and it picked up 70 yards.
Now, one of the things when you watch Connor run, we saw him going around the corners, so you know he's got good speed going around corners. But he also is really comfortable going right off the tackle, and that's what that did. But he just kept his feet under, his legs underneath him and churning. Nobody slid down. They tried to hit him high, and that is not how you're going to bring him down.
Flag, Sikowski lost the handle. If it stands, that will be the 4th lost fumble by Sacred Heart and the 5th overall turnover tonight. If it stands, and I think it might, because I noticed movement.
It's going to, and that's just when you get those. The young quarterback, it was a procedure call that goes against the Gators. Obviously, it's going to be declined all the way around. So Sikowski gets back, and you can see him lay back there, but his hand was not able to just grip around the football. It was just laying in his hand, spun right on out, and the rest obviously is catastrophic disaster for the Gators. That marsh that the Gators are swimming in right now is getting a little smaller and smaller as the Knights keep taking advantage of those turnovers. We'll go back to the very first game of the season that Sacred Heart played against El Camino, and it was the mistakes that eventually killed them.
Yeah, turnovers, penalties, blew a 12-point lead. Eventually lost 20-19. You know what? Before they start Bay League play in about a couple of weeks, might as well get all the ugly out, or most of it, as Dixon hits Hawkins. That's reception number 10 tonight for the PAL receiving leader from a year ago. And he's all the way inside the 45 to the 44 to pick up of 19, move them chains. 1st and 10 Menlo. We're seeing a great combination here tonight.
You always go to games and you wonder what the combinations are. You know, wide receiver, quarterback, and of course everybody knows of the 49ers. It was Montana to Clark, Young to Rice, that great combination. Here we're seeing Dixon to Hawkins. They are just very, very much in sync. Obviously, spring ball and fall practice has really benefited these two.
Ivory on the loose. Ivory dancing, spit it inside the 20, out of the 18-yard line. Boy, a quick hitter, and you just saw the explosive speed of senior Leon Ivory, who was injured most of last season.
And boy, was he missed too. And you can see a lot of head bobbing, but he's still looking right down the field. Good peripheral vision. But you're right, Craig. Just a tremendous explosion out of the backfield. And again, huge credit goes right down to those 3 guys in the middle, Cavender, Coggins, and Flaherty, your center and your 2 guards. They opened up a huge hole.
Here's Ivory again. Ivory now near the 120-yard mark for the evening. That's very impressive when you throw in that Hawkins has 10 receptions for about 150 yards, and Dixon has completed a 14 of 24 for about 170. This is an explosive team that can beat you in so many ways, and I think the big thing for Menlo, Kurt, got to stay healthy.
They really do. Because you look over on those sidelines, and obviously it's one of the smaller schools. It's a private school, very, very well renowned for its academics and athletics.
Well,
But
personal
the numbers
foul on the
really aren't there,
defense.
so
First
injuries
down.
could play a key role. If they stay healthy, they'll do very well.
1:39 left in the third. Menlo again attempting to tack on more against its Arrival down Valparaiso Avenue. Wanted to go in the post pattern, and was that intended for Matt Beret, a junior, 6'1", 170. First time we called him tonight.
Just a nice, tight little hard post going right on in. He had his hands right on the ball, but hit just at the last second. And Beret was not able to just drag it right on in. He had it, but the hit was delivered right at the opportune moment.
Second and goal from the 70-yard line. Here's Ivory. Needs a block. Well, you see the agility of this young man as he grinds it down to the 5-yard line. It was a well-earned 3 yards for Leon Ivory. Now has gained 125 yards tonight.
He's got that ball wrapped in. You can see how he's got it well protected. Hand over the end of the football. Good transition. Right back to the other arm. Hand wrapped over the point. The other one back in on, right in on the elbow. You are going to have to put a helmet right square on that elbow or the ball to pop it free. So this kid, when he gets hold of the football, he's got that thing in a vice grip, and that is what makes him an effective running back.
Split way out in the far side for the Knights is R.J. Carver. In motion is Bouvier on a 3rd down and goal from the 4-yard line. Dixon, time, stops, throws, has a man, and in the end zone. They're going to give it to him. I haven't seen a signal yet. The far official finally puts up his hands. With the catch and in is Taylor Humphreys, 5'10", 175, and a junior. And Menlo has broken the 40-point barrier.
Again, a little roll, but I like the way Dixon's impressed me the entire night, and we've talked about it. Starts to go for that little sprint out right over the tackle. As soon as he sees the open receiver, he does not hesitate. Gets rid of the ball, and that time it was Humphrey who was paying attention and got it for the touchdown. Well-earned touchdown because he was hit right there at the goal line.
He has 2 to Hawkins, 1 to Bouvier, and 1 to Humphreys. Tack on a Bouvier interception return for a touchdown and a Ivory touchdown run, and you got 41 points and a 35-point lead with 25 seconds left in quarter number 3. Craig Wentz with Kurt Edwards. Glad you're with us. First of 10 games for you this fall. We'll take you up till the middle of November. Got some good games on the schedule. Should be an interesting year for local teams in prep football.
We're going to get an opportunity, as you've gone through the schedule a couple of different times, to see them many times. Pally on the schedule, I think 3 times. Gunn on the schedule, equally the same amount of times. So by the time we're all said and done, we'll know what this whole area is going to look like football-wise.
And Menlo Atherton, which has been down for the last 2 or 3 years, a new coach in Bob Sykes, former coach at Los Altos, and then coaching University of Nevada, Reno.
Go back, he's a former Aptos kid.
And played collegiately at Arkansas for Lou Holtz in the late 70s. Remember when they beat Oklahoma, killed him in the 78 Orange Bowl. Here is Connor. See if he can get something going for the Gators. He gets out to the 33. So MA is due to bounce back. It'll be interesting anytime we get a new coach, new system. So very intriguing.
Yeah, those new systems sometimes are a little tough. It really depends on the athletes and how well they can adapt to it. I have a feeling Coach Sykes will do a good job of leading the Bears into the future. How quick he can get them there is another story.
I think Coach Laverato at Sacred Heart has the right offense and game plan for what he has available. Remember, Sacred Heart's a young program. They just started about 5 years ago, got a beautiful facility on the Atherton campus, but they don't have a lot of depth. They don't have a lot of size. You know, it takes a while to get your identity, but it's the right offensive mix for the talent and size they have. And then Menlo, it's perfect right now. Newton's been working on this for 3 years. He's got the athletes to run that run and shoot, and all the buttons are working perfectly right now. It's just a matter if they can remain healthy for the whole season. Highland over the 100-yard mark, and a marker comes in late. The tackle by John Haynes, a senior, 6'3", 175, and we'll sort this one out with 9 seconds to go in a very lengthy quarter number 3, 41-6 Menlo. Hold Gators. 4 fumbles by Sacred Heart, 5 turnovers in all, and credit to Menlo, taking advantage of every turnover. And going to pick his flag up, and we're going to mark it back. So this may be the final play of quarter number 3. Crowd's still here. It's a big one. Very supportive, both schools.
Well, when you look at it, it is a great crowd. The last year's game, which was won by Sacred Heart, again, we had a very sizable crowd, much more competitive game than this year. And I will agree with you, Craig, that the offense that is run by the Gators is very good for this type of a squad, simply because of the size that they have and the quarterback that they have.
Highland eludes a tackle. He's on a loose. He's got one man to beat. 50. Highland hesitates and grabbed around the neck by Andrew Geen, and he saved the touchdown, but not after a gain of 31 yards. And that'll be the final play of quarter number 3. Let's take another look.
Patience is the key to the fly offense. We've seen Highland get through there a bunch of times. At this point in time, if I were a Highland, I would just sprinted as far as I could, as fast as I could. But he did make a great game.
End of 3. It's Menlo School 41 and Sacred Heart Prep 6 in the 2006 version of the Valparaiso Bowl. Well, these games wouldn't be possible without our proud and generous sponsors. West Bay Game Night is a presentation at the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center. Media Center sports coverage is made possible by a generous grant from Cable Co-op, sponsored by the Palo Alto Daily News. And that is the Upper Silicon Valley circulation leader on the web at paloaltodailynews.com. And Sunbelt Reynolds. Need a lift? Sunbelt Reynolds, all your equipment needs. One company online at www.sunbeltreynolds.com. We thank our sponsors. Be with us all season. So a nice run by Highland as we commence quarter number 4, and Sacred Heart down 41-6. Again, this is the 4th meeting all time between the two schools. It's a great rivalry. You know, it kind of takes that football to get the rivalry in gear. Menlo and Sacred Heart have been bitter rivals in other sports, basketball, volleyball, on down the road. But football makes it a genuine rivalry. And with Sacred Heart commencing their program about 5 years ago, you got a game forever now. And This is the 4th meeting, and Sacred Heart is 1-1, Menlo is 1-2, and it's great for everybody.
Well, it really is. And football generally sets the tone athletically of what's going to happen down through the rest of the year. Maybe not so much in the other sports, but definitely it just starts to build up. Obviously, one of the great rivalries in the Bay Area is the big game between Cal and Stanford. And both of those schools could be going absolutely nowhere, but when that game shows up, boy, do the emotions pop out.
Highland pops loose inside the 15 down to the 12-yard line. Wrapped up by Matt Corley, defensive end, 6'3", 205, a junior. And what a night for Ty Highland.
He's been really effective. That was a great block by Connor, number 21, one of his running mates in the backfield. And as we said before we went out on the third quarter, the fly offense is one of those patient style of offense. You can run the same play 3, 4, 5 times in a row and it goes nowhere, and all of a sudden you run it, bam, you pop it for about good 15, 20 yards.
Matt Connor initially grabbed around the ankles by Chris Giglio. Giglio has had an outstanding night. The junior linebacker, 5'10", 180. Watch him here, right below the knees.
Great job by Giglio, going a nice inside out. You see he didn't over pursue, kept his inside position, waited for the running back to make that final cut. When he did come back inside, number 51 was right there for the wrap-up, and that's just a good job of linebacker play.
Well, let's see if Ryan Sikowski, the sophomore signal caller, can lead the Gators into the end zone for the second time tonight. Ty Highland in motion, movement on the top of your screen. That'll cost them 5. Little anxious is a Robbie LaRue.
Now they want to get in that end zone, and the emotions are high. They want to get that good execution and show that they are ready to play football. And sometimes you may hear that snap count go just a little bit before it really goes off.
So LaRue at tight end, Matt Brzezinski, the sophomore tight end, who had a catch for 19 yards, left midway in the third quarter. Hope he's okay. Can bounce back next week. Sikowski going up top. He got a man contact, and they're going to whistle Andrew Geenan for interference.
Now remember, earlier on in the game, we saw something very, very similar. Excuse me. Me. Where there was, I thought it should have been pass interference or face guarding right down here in front of us. That time there was. Great job by the receiver to beat the man. Courier was down there, was wide open. Good pass floated out there. And you watch the defender run right
Pass
into
interference.
Well, you know, I don't know if we have a replay or not, but that time I thought Geenan got his head around, and that's just one of those calls you got to be down there and be the official. Nonetheless, it's first down. Should be first and goal. Now, first and 10 from the 11, so they can get a first down inside the 1.5-yard line. Menlo leads it 41-6. You're watching West Bay game night, and you're watching Sikowski go down to the arms of Chris Giglio, his 7th tackle of the night.
Well, Sikowski had a tough time. You can see him take the snap from center. A little bit of a bobble. Connor was the actual one that got the football and got tackled over there on the right side there. You see him, number 21 behind LaRue, number 12. Pair of dyslexics on that side.
My bad, it was Connor, but this is Highland. Highland needs a block. He wiggles in inside to about the 5-yard line. Giglio again there. And Corley also in on the tackle for Menlo. Bring up third down and about 5 from the 5.
Watching Highland run, he doesn't need much of a block. He is quick. He's very, very elusive. And once he sees that opening, if he generates a lot of power with that speed.
This is Connor. Dives. Did he get in? A lot of late calls here tonight. They're going to mark him down at the 1. Yep, going to mark him at just inside the 1-yard line. Bring up fourth down. Maybe might have the first down.
Connor hesitated a little bit, and rightfully so.
My bad, it was Connor, but this is Highland. Highland needs a block. He wiggles in inside to about the 5-yard line. Giglio again there. And Corley also in on the tackle for Menlo. Bring up third down and about 5 from the 5.
Watching Highland run, he doesn't need much of a block. He is quick. He's very, very elusive. And once he sees that opening, if he generates a lot of power with that speed.
This is Connor. Dives. Did he get in? A lot of late calls here tonight. They're going to mark him down at the 1. Yep, going to mark him at just inside the 1-yard line. Bring up fourth down. Maybe might have the first down.
Connor hesitated a little bit, and rightfully so. He was waiting for the blockers to line up right in front of him. But unfortunately, there were more white shirts arriving at the scene than there were of the red shirts. So Connor had to get inside and get what he could, and hopefully with his power drive it into the end zone. But he was unable to do it, but it was still a great effort. They're going to stretch the chains to see if you've gotten enough for the first down, and that would be huge, first and goal.
I think he got the first down, just by a little bit. What do you think?
I'm saying he's got it. I've lost every bet so far today, so let's see.
Yep, first and goal from about the half-yard line.
No.
Oh, short.
I'm not taking you to Reno.
I just came back there with a Cadillac. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it didn't have an engine in it. I was kind of watching how they were stringing that one out. I thought that thing, the chain had a mind of its own the way it was weaving back and forth.
So fourth down at a couple of links, and no doubt here. Question is, do you give it to Connor right up between the tackles, or maybe try Highland around the perimeter, maybe cut in off tackle? So fourth down and about 2 inches with 9:28 to play, and Sacred Heart down 41-6 on West Bay game night.
Well, Sikowski, all $155 of them. If he's going to ride that center, it's going to be a silent count, and hope that he can just get right up inside and just drive right on through for the touchdown. And Moran, number 64, is the center. And Rob Moran, 6'3", 260 pounds. We'll see how they stack that defense. Then again, with the fly, you can still get Highland to see if he can turn the corner and get it around. He's on the near side here on the left-hand side.
4th and a couple of inches. Yep, going to keep it. And Sikowski's got himself not only a first down, but a touchdown.
Riding right behind Moran.
Good call.
Get that big horse.
Good call, Coach. Sikowski, the sophomore. Sneaks on in and cuts the margin now to 41-12.
Tell you one thing, that's got to make you feel good. Watch the snap. Sit in, hang on to that football, son. He's bobbled that snap. Meanwhile, the big Hogs going right on forward. Moran and Coggins just pushing the left side of that offensive front, just driving on into the end zone.
Now the 2-point attempt. Connor got it. Tack on another deuce, 41-14.
Yeah, we've been watching this game, and it's been definitely dominated by the Menlo Knights, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. As we watch the speed of Connor and great blocking gets him to be able to turn that corner and into the end zone. What was really a shot the Gators in the snout throughout the entire game are the turnovers, those fumbles. They put the ball on the turf, and the Knights have been able to get it 4 times. And those are just some of the things you just cannot do.
Yep, and don't forget the interception return for a touchdown is Kurt Nye and Misha. There's Mauricio up top on Sunbelt Reynolds. High above
Mauricio!
Woodside on a beautiful night, Kurt. Clear skies, beautiful temperature, a big crowd on September 9th, 2006. It's been all Menlo, but Sacred Heart, as you mentioned, you take away the turnovers, and this is a ball game, but they're a young team. Remember that. They made some key mistakes last week in their 20-19 loss to El Camino. And hopefully you learn from this and you go into your Bay League and you create a lot of havoc and have a good time, and you got to learn from your mistakes.
Here comes the scrum.
Big kick, Ivory, going to let it roll into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Well, we mentioned the line play of Menlo tonight, but also Sacred Heart. You know, they've gained over 200 yards rushing here tonight. Cacharo, Morris, Moran, Gordon, Wigley, Brzezinski at tight end before he went out with an injury. And I'm impressed with Sacred Heart the way they have been able to run the ball. We knew coming in 3 words for their offense: run, run, run.
Now I have been impressed with that offense, and just to reiterate, it's a simple fact that they've put it on the turf and they've not been able to come up with it. But that offensive front has done a nice job. And not only are they doing a pretty good job on the blocking end of it for the run, but also that backfield. Connor's doing a good job of blocking. Capavilla's doing a very good job of blocking. And they've got to get out there, because in the fly offense, not only do you have to get out and hit him once, but you have to sustain that block.
Here's Ivory. Huge night tonight. 40, 45 midfield. Highland to beat inside the 40 at the 38-yard line. 43-yard gain for Leon Ivory, near 200 yards tonight.
Again, you see that huge hole that's open right up the middle, and Ivory, tremendous speed, and Highland just doing a great job. Kamikaze tackle, just flying in to make that hit, knocking Ivory out of bounds. I have a feeling if you wear a number 7 and you're in a Gator uniform, you're going to be tired by the end of this day.
Yeah, Highland has done an outstanding job on both sides of the ball, and what a night for Ivory. Pass is incomplete, and Matt Corley into the game. The 6'3", 205-pound junior came in the first half for a little bit. Threw a strike here, but couldn't make the connection.
Now Beret, number 19, was down there on trying to make that thing come in, hit him in a bad spot right in and out of his hands. Hey, real quick, Craig, the proceeds from this game go to the Bridge Project, which is an outstanding. I just got hauled off to the side by Granger Marburg. He's the executive director for the Bridge Project, and both of these schools are involved in it. We talked about it earlier, where they take some of the kids from some of the lesser economic areas here in the Bay Area, improve their GPA, grade point average, by having them come to summer school at some of the private schools that we have here, and again, Sacred Heart and Menlo being 2 of the many that they've got here. And they've got a lot of generous support, not only from administrators and parents from the different schools, but also from some very generous donors that they have here, including Stanford University. And they have a lot of components, summer school, regular schools, and they do get some scholarships for some of the deserving students that come from, say, areas of East Palo Alto where the opportunities may not be as great. So proceeds from this game do go to the Bridge Project, and we'd like to thank the people for their generous contribution.
O'Halloran loses the handle. Ryan into the game after he picked up 7 on a carry, but Menlo got it back, it appears, and it'll bring up 4th down at about 7.
Nice little handoff. We got a bobble, and then we're playing kickball right there in the middle. And it looked like, couldn't see who came up with that pigskin, but I know it was a Menlo person.
First of all, we want to thank you for explaining that, Kurt. The Bridge Project, it's a good cause, and it's great that you can play this rivalry game early in the year. It goes to a good cause, a lot of generous people thinking of others. So
it's a great program. And they call it the Bridge Project. More than anything else, it's the opportunity to bridge that gap between the haves and the have-nots on an academic basis. And they really work with the middle school age students, this 8th and 9th grader, to get their grades up. And again, those who can academically qualify to get into some of these fine private schools, there's scholarships available for them. But they also have programs for the parents of some of these students, because some of the parents may not have had the quality education that some of us have been fortunate to have, nor the parents to support it. So they also have the parental support end of it. So it's a tremendous program that's right here in our back door.
Tony Schwartz, the level 10 pianist, joins Ivory, the level 7 pianist. On that play previous, it was Corley to Bouvier for 12 and a first down. This time Schwartz gains for, call it 6, call it 2nd down and 4. With 7:10 to go, and as we mentioned earlier, this is the 4th all-time Valparaiso Bowl. They call it because schools are separated by about a 3-wood on Valparaiso Avenue in Atherton Menlo Park. And since Sacred Heart got football, this is the 4th meeting. Menlo leads it all-time 2-1, about to go 3-1. Sacred Heart won last year 27-19, and it's a rivalry that's going to be around a long, long, long time. Great support, super crowd here tonight on a beautiful evening. Here is Schwartz, and he bounces inside the 15. Looks as if he's got enough for a first down.
Schwartz being bounced around, but I like the way, just like all of the running backs, takes the ball with reckless abandon. Chakovna was in there on the hit, and he has just done a good job from his linebacker position.
I got Chuck Nova for 11 tackles tonight, playing that middle linebacking position. 6 foot 210.
11.
He is a senior. Do you think it's more?
Now, I have no doubt that he's been very, very active.
Yep. All right. Coming up next week, September 17th, 8 p.m. Catch it, Carl Gun. If you're going to that game, it'll be Friday night, 7:30 under the lights in Palo Alto. Silver Creek MA, September 24th at 8 p.m. Lynbrook Gun, October 1st at 8 p.m. Big one. 2 of the top 15 teams in CCS. Wilcox 13, Pally 2. That'll be huge. Pally got a tough road coming up. Burlingame, at Oak Grove, at Los Gatos, which you haven't beaten forever. It'll be an interesting year for Palo Alto.
Earl Hansen's going to have his hands full, but knowing that he's got a very solid football team that he's going to be throwing at these, but yeah, Wilcox always a perennial power. Los Gatos also a perennial power. So he's got the deck. Try it again, Kurt.
Oak Grove, new facility they'll be playing at in San Jose. Yeah. But you know what? No matter what happens at Palo Alto, they're going to make the postseason. And it's great preparation for a playoff run.
And a lot of coaches will do that one. I know on the other side of the hill, San Lorenzo Valley, they have the honor. They opened up against Valley Christian, then they went up against San Benito just recently, and then they're headed up to St. Ignatius. So they should be 0 for trying, but if they're going to get into those playoffs, you're going to have to play those big schools. Yeah. You can't have a candy schedule and go get it.
You look at Menlo before they go in their PAL play. They got Mountain View next Saturday at 1:30. Mountain View, very good team. They waxed gun the other night. They're very, very strong, and you know what's going to help the Knights down the road. And it's a good test to see how good they are. Sacred Heart's a good team. You know, San Mateo's a good team that's been hit by the injury bug, but the Mountain View's going to be a real test on the road next week. Corley on the run. We haven't seen many quarterbacks on the run. Throws in the corner, a little contact in the end zone, no call. That was intended for R.J. Carver. And the coverage by Chris Cummings, 5'9", 155, a sophomore. Boy, does Sacred Heart have a lot of 10th graders.
They do. They've got a lot of 10th graders, so they're just building for the future. And watching how they play, they do a very good job. They've got a super job of just being right where they're supposed to be all the time.
6 sophomores on the Sacred Heart roster. Second down and 10, and Menlo can get a first down inside the 3-yard line with 5:41 to play, and the Knights up 41 to play, and the Knights up 41 to 14. Corley inside give. Play was detonated early. Somehow Schwartz got out of it, and that dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Coming up, Matt Bochy. The initial hit was made by Cacharo.
That was just excellent job of the defense to smell that play out. Of course, they've seen that thing come at them about 3 or 4 different times this drive. So once you're able to identify it, then you can react to it. Now, we talked about some of these teams and how they play some of the bigger schools, the tougher schools. That also comes into play going all the way down to the middle of November when they get ready for the CCS seedings. Because it's a point-based value. Not only how you finish in league championship, that almost gets you in there, but if you're finishing 2 or 3, depending on how your conference is rated, whether it's an A or a B conference, how you did in the preseason with some of the bigger schools could get you in that playoff.
Travis Boyce running the option at quarterback. Got a couple before he's met by Robbie LaRue. Correct, power points, and Circus, the selection seating meeting. Always a fun time.
Hey, you've been to those, haven't you?
Yeah, everyone gets robbed, but you got to go out and play. And, of course, let's remember, too now. We're jumping ahead. We're only in week 2 of the prep season.
Yeah, but it's fun to do that.
But they got the state championship games this year.
Yep.
So it's the whole state. I don't know all the ramifications, but basically you better run the table, have a perfect season, have a tough schedule, and then you'll be selected and play a participant from the Southern Section CIF, and that's way down the road. So a couple new wrinkles this year in the football playoff. Schwartz on the pitch. Schwartz wrangled down. That's J.J. Suttle. He's got about 7 tackles tonight. J.J.'s had a good game, another sophomore for Sacred Heart Prep.
I like that pitch. Just a nice job by the quarterback to get it out there, but a great job of anticipating and defensive flows towards that action. So this may be one of the better defensive series that I've seen the Gators come up to. And as a coach, you look for things on a positive note that you can take into next week's practice and into next week's games. And if defensively that means you stop them inside the red zone, you utilize that.
Yeah, turnover on downs, and Sacred Heart Prep will have it with 3:53 left. Sikowski going deep down the sideline, and it is hijacked. Another turnover. This time, Sam Foster. The 6th turnover committed by Sacred Heart Prep tonight.
Well, Sikorsky's throwing right into double coverage, as you can see, in great inside coverage by the defender, as well as some coverage coming in from over the top. But in a situation like that, 41-14 is the score with 3:47 here to go. You know that defensively they're just going to walk off. They're going to play a deep center field, so if you can't go underneath, you better figure out how to go over the top. But one of the things that I like about Sikorsky is that he's got a lot of upside. Good footwork. Going to have to develop some arm strength, but he is only just a sophomore, so there's some great things in his future.
Corley still throwing. Throws a seed right down the seam, intended for Beret. Incomplete. Want to thank our talented crew in the truck. Game produced and directed by Craig Judson. Doug Smith was on graphics. Ron Holman on replay and audio. Camera, good job, Craig Goldstein, Mauricio Quijano, Keith Anderson, and Sean K. Halen. Misha Berkowitz is our spotter. Yolanda Fox. Good to see Yolanda. Haven't seen her in about a year. Doing utility work for us. That means she's multi-talented.
We've always got that.
But good night here in Woodside, especially for Menlo and their fans.
Menlo and their fans are going to go home happy. And actually, Pete Lavorato came in pretty much knowing what his club was going to have to do. They weren't able to execute how they wanted it, but there are some good upsides that I've been able to notice with this Gator ball club.
They lost Pat Coffey, who was a kind of all-do quarterback last year. O'Halloran, big boy, getting down near the 10-yard line near a first down with 3:34 to go. So you bring in a sophomore quarterback, you got to rely on your running game. And, you know, you learned some mistakes early in the year. You tried to have the best team you can, but you're right, that's a good word. Upswing. I think nothing but the best for Sacred Heart down the road. Still a very young program.
Young program, a lot of building to do. Good offense for this program and for the age of these young athletes that are out there. And you take a look, Highland, number 7, having a very good game. Connor, 21, did a great job on the ground. So there's been a lot of good efforts and a lot of good athletes out on the field for the Gators.
O'Halloran bullies his way down near the 5-yard line, coming up on 3 minutes to play. I want to thank Mark Newton in his 3rd year at Menlo, a graduate of Menlo in '89, quarterback at UC Davis. I want to thank him and his staff for all their help during the week and helping us prepare. And best of luck, Coach Newton and your team down the road. You'll be hearing about Menlo. They are good. They are for real. And Sacred Heart, Coach Pete Lavorato and his staff, thanks for your support and information, and best of luck to the Gators in '06. You ever checked out that football facility at Sacred Heart? Because Sacred Heart and Menlo play at about the 2 best facilities you can find in the Central Coast section. One's a college, and the other one is tailor-made. You're in the middle of the woods. It's like in your backyard, NFL goalpost. Sacred Heart, unbelievable.
I have not seen the Sacred Heart facility, but I've had an opportunity to visit the Menlo facility, and I agree with you. The Menlo facility is beautiful, and having gotten on the Sacred Heart campus to do some baseball games there and some basketball games in the past, I do know how lovely that campus is. So I have no doubt that their football facility is a very class type facility.
Yeah, you just look at Stanford. When you have land and generous donors, you can make you can produce miracles.
Speaking of miracles.
Yes, sir.
We've got some miracle sponsors that have been around for quite a number of years. Actually, for this one, which is great that it gets us on the air.
West Bay Game Night is a presentation of the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center. Media Center sports coverage is made possible by a generous grant from Cable Co-op. Sponsored by the Palo Alto Daily News, the Upper Silicon Valley's circulation leader. On the web at paloaltodailynews.com, and Sunbelt Rentals. All your equipment needs one company. Online at www.sunbeltrentals.com. Thanks our sponsors so much. We'll be hearing from them throughout the year.
What I was going to say, one of the great miracles of putting a stadium together, I was at the Notre Dame-Stanford game last year, which was the last game of the season, and they went in and started ripping that stadium out. How big of a turnaround is that? You finish the game, and within less than a year's time, you have a brand new stadium. I'm assuming it's rocking and ready to go as soon as Stanford has their first home contest. But you go on the web, and you get a chance to see how the progress that they're making. It's just fabulous.
Well, you know what? You're in the right part of the country. That'd be hard to do if you're in Michigan.
That would be a little bit tough. But in Michigan, they just add another floor on to the big house.
So you've got good weather, and you've got, that new Stanford Stadium is going to be something. Corner, incomplete. Coverage by Highland, intended for Travis Boyce.
Corley showed me a lot of poise because LaRue, number 12, was coming up his back door really quick. And Corley just stayed up, patient. Again, young quarterback. I like the way he throws the football. Start to develop a little bit more touch because, believe me, he has got an arm on him. If he wants to let that thing out, I have no doubt that he can throw a nice big bullet right wherever he wants to and right through the hands of receivers.
Menlo led 34-7 at halftime. Third down, goal from the 2. O'Halloran, can he get in?
Look at that push at that defensive line by the Gators. Another flag on the field.
Ryan Morris did all he could to prevent O'Halloran from breaking the plane. Let's see what the marker's about with 1:44 to play.
Number 50, Morris. Those are the type of individual efforts that you'd really like to see. You know, when doesn't matter whether you're winning or losing what the score is, it's the individual efforts that Morris puts forth and keeps it from there. Flag. One of the things we've noticed about this game, the first half.
Holding, offense, third down again. 5-7.
The first half, relatively penalty-free. Second half, we've seen a lot more of those flags hit the deck, and some of it is the fatigue, some of it is the rotation of the players. A lot of it is frustration.
Timeout, Sacred Heart. They'll have one more to burn with 1:44 to play. Again, we're at Gun next week. Titans taking on the Scots of Carlmont. Both are winless. Something's got to give, and Kurt and I and the whole crew will be there. Under the lights, come on out. That'll be a Friday night game, 7:30, the JV game before. Just a different atmosphere with the new lights at Gun High School, much like Palo Alto High School a few weeks ago. Now we get to the Mercury rankings we mentioned earlier. Valley Christian will drop. They lost to Pittsburgh on Friday night. Los Gatos, Pali, Oak Grove.
You know, it's almost the same old, and every once in a while, South San Francisco pops in
They
there.
lost to St. Francis Friday night, so a couple of those teams will drop. But look at Pali, highest ranking in a long, long time. We'll have to face Oak Grove and Wilcox and Los Gatos. And
Well, you say they've got that secret weapon, the svelte 260-pound tailback, so.
Mataele. You got to go watch a Pali game to see this. Big and agile. That's a good team top and bottom. They got Frazier, great 1-2 punch in the backfield with good speed, the quarterback. I like Gun, too. Gun's got a lot of guts. They got a young team, thin, new coach, new uniforms, look real nice. Menlo we've seen in Sacred Heart, two gutty teams. Menlo a little more talent, more experience. And then MA, I have no idea what's going to happen, but with Bob Sykes there, I'm sure they'll give a maximum effort. It'll be a fun year this year.
Always looking forward to the football season. Usually it's my favorite season. They just get to come to the stadiums, to listen to the roar of the crowd. The parents get involved. The coaches do a great job.
Fourth down and goal from the 12. Corley flips to O'Halloran, and it'll be a tad short. On the bottom of the pile for Sacred Heart Prep is Joe Young. Mighty Joe Young, 6'3", 195, a junior. Gators take over on downs with 1:33 to play.
Watch this, the old shovel pass. Pitch it right up in there, and he found himself around a whole bunch of red shirts.
Well, we always talked about that the football season kind of gets things going for a school. You have a successful football campaign, and it kind of rolls everything into basketball season and soccer and on into the spring.
Oh, yeah. Now, I've always believed that. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's college or high school. It just definitely sets the tone.
Highland has been busy, well over the 100-yard mark tonight, as he whittles out about 3 yards to the 13-yard line. Again, Sacred Heart Prep will take an 0-2 record by hosting Mills Saturday, 1:30 in Atherton. Menlo, a tough task, will be at Mountain View Saturday for a 1:30 kickoff. Here's Connor. Escorted out of bounds by Alex Curtis, the junior, 6'3", 200.
There's a late hit out of bounds. Connor was already out of bounds, and there is a late hit. And that's what I talk about when you get in the latter part of the game. So we got a face mask. Okay. I didn't see the face mask, but I saw the late hit out of bounds.
Tacking on from the run. We'll pick up the first down. Just 5 yards up.
Again, they missed the face mask. It was a nice grab of the jersey. Second time, I think they missed the face mask, but
Face mask on the defense. First down.
Eyeglasses for the Zebras.
Still early in
down.
the year.
I know. You got to get used to all these things. There's a lot of action. There's 22 people colliding out there. It's not like baseball where all you got to do is follow the bouncing ball towards shortstop.
Final thoughts. What did you learn?
Yes, Professor.
What did you retain?
Still second down. First down.
What did you retain tonight?
Dinner. But outside of that, what I definitely was enjoyed watching was the firepower that the Menlo Knights have in that offense, the overall team speed, the poise that they have at the quarterback position, and the discipline of the receivers as they run the routes, specifically Hawkins and how he's able to run the routes and find that open spot.
Connor, a nice run after the catch from Sikowski out around the 30-yard line at a pickup of 13 yards with 54 seconds to play.
Now with Sacred Heart, they don't have a lot of quit in them. And one of the guys that you can look for, and right there is number 21, Connor, who does a nice little stiff arm to get away from the tackle. He has been consistent throughout the entire time. And Highland, who is a flyback, who takes that fake very well, has done a nice job. Just the persistence that the Gators have, and another flag goes down on the field as the laundry continues to get dumped out there on the football field. Both of these teams, Menlo is here. This is the real deal for Menlo. Sacred Heart, they've got some great building to do, and they've got some fine young athletes to which to build upon.
Okay.
Is that okay, Professor?
Couldn't have put it any better myself. Robbie LaRue, name out of Central Casting. If I ever become a big-time actor, I'm going to change my name now. Robbie LaRue.
Came out of Tennessee. Don't they have him there?
Huh?
Came out of Tennessee. Didn't they have a couple of LaRues back there?
That was a nice catch by LaRue, and they'll tack on 15 more and push the ball at the 49-yard line. So Sacred Heart still with an opportunity.
Personal foul on the defense. First down.
Still an opportunity to get in the end zone with 47 seconds to play. Sacred Heart won the JV game. That was a good ball game. Came down to the last possession. Sikowski. Connor. Blocking. 40. 35. Clock will stop to move the chains. Pick up a 15 yards and a first down.
Again, the impression I get is nice poise and patience. Nice poise and patience. You're asking Sikowski to do a few things, but look at that great downfield blocking. Good hustle by the offensive line. They're setting up the plays very, very well. It's just a matter of, in this particular night with Menlo, you just have some better athletes out on the field that can execute. We'll get him Fran Tarkington.
Skowski bounces out at about the 36 with 21 seconds to play. Remember, Sacred Heart, 6 sophomores on this team. Menlo is dominated by juniors and seniors. They have two sophomores on the team. So experience a big factor, and I think the Gators put up a good fight.
Now, I think they did a fine job. And to probably hammer it one more time is just a simple matter of turnovers that you just could not avoid or overcome.
Sikowski throws downfield, and it's caught by our friend Robbie LaRue, 6'1", 170, and a senior. His second dandy grab of this drive, and it puts the ball down to the 20-yard line. It'll be first out and 10. They'll get the chains in place. 14 seconds to go until the end of this one. And Gators would love to find the end zone and carry something into next Saturday's game against Mills. Sikowski flushed out of the pocket, lets it fly. Connor needs to get out of bounds, and he steps out at about the 20 with 1.7 seconds remaining.
That far sideline over there where the Menlo crowd is, they're out of the bleachers, but they're all right behind the bench, ready to hoot and holler. A well-earned victory. You know, you talk about what coaches look at. First half, second half. How do you build on wins? what can you take from a loss to build on the next week going into the next game. Only giving up 7 points in that second half.
Final play of the game, picked off. Chase Richards, 7th turnover by Sacred Heart Prep tonight. And that kind of sums it up in a nutshell, what happened here tonight. 7 turnovers by Sacred Heart. Too much offensive firepower for Menlo. Final Menlo 41, Sacred Heart Prep 14. Any final thoughts, Lefty?
No, I think both of these squads have got a lot of upside. Congratulations to both of them for a hard-fought game and for a great cause, which is the Bridge Project, which we talked about before.
Thanks for explaining that. For Kurt Edwards and our talented crew and Misha Berkowitz, our spotter, I'm Craig Wentz, saying so long from Woodside High School. Final again, Menlo 41, Sacred Heart Prep 14. Knights now 2-0 in the young season. Prep dips down to 0-2. Coming up next week, Carlmont and Gunn non-league football will be there. Thanks for pulling up the couch. Good night, everybody.